uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace to
Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Some people enjoy lazy Sunday mornings, but not me.
What's the truth of the matter?
So that's a very live question.
Would you support him if he waters down these plans?
Before the spin sets in, I'll be getting to the truth.
This is personal.
No soft questions, no easy answers.
It's one thing if the state has rules in this country. It's another thing whether the police and others actually police them.
Setting the agenda and holding those in power to account.
You can't really blame her if the system is set up this way. You will not want to miss it, trust me.
The Camilla Tominey Show, Sundays from 9:30, only on GB News.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Breaking news, live updates, stories that matter.
From the heart of the GB newsroom to every corner of Britain, with our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
GB News bulletins are there to deliver the latest news that matters to you. Bulletins on GB News,
the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
I'm Bev Turner. Thank you for joining us on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good morning. A top police chief threatens to take the Prime Minister Andy Burnham to court in an effort to stop PC Andrew Harper's killers walking free early.
Well, the Prime Minister's decision to include criminals guilty of manslaughter in the early prison release scheme is labelled an insult to PC Harper's loved ones.
As it's revealed that the scheme will also see more than 9,000 domestic abusers freed within 3 years. Is this becoming the first major crisis of Burnham's government? And while the backlash mounts, the Prime Minister is on a 2-week holiday.
Fancy that. And Piddington residents appealed to the government in a last-ditch effort to halt plans to house 1,250 migrants in the tiny Oxfordshire village with a population of just 300 people, with local children sending a heartfelt message to the Prime Minister.
To Andy Burnham, I like my village exactly how it is and I don't want it to be changed. Dear Prime Minister, I love the park in Piddington.
Well, you don't want to miss that interview with one of the concerned families later on in the programme. Jack Carson is going to be bringing that to us live from Piddington.
Yes, he is. And moving on, new details emerge about the Afghan suspect currently being held by Greek police over the murder of Scottish charity worker Elizabeth Jane Ross. We're going to bring you the latest on this very shocking case.
Is accepting an OBE condoning colonialism? Well, we're debating that after Professor David Olusoga criticised friends who told him not to accept the honour because he's black.
And the SpaceX rocket is on course to crash into the moon this morning. We're going to bring you some of that breaking footage, and well, trust me, it's going to be sensational stuff.
And sport this morning, with FIFA President Gianni Infantino will hold a crisis meeting in Morocco today in an attempt to cling on to power. Jack Draper burst into tears as he's knocked out the Canadian Open, and riders in the Women's Tour de France will be checked for a bizarre way of cheating that makes them more aerodynamic.
Depending on where you are in the United Kingdom, it's either another wet day or another dry day. Another day of contrasts either way. I'll have the full details in the forecast coming up soon.
Good morning, it's just gone 6 o'clock. I'm Ellie Costello.
And I'm Alex Armstrong, and this is GB News Breakfast. Because it's been so hot, a lot of us are buying ice creams more regularly than normal.
I've had 2 in the last week.
2 in the last week.
A 99 cone I'm talking about.
And get this, ice cream vendors are being accused of creaming off. Oh. Okay, see that? That's very good. Extra profits in the heat wave, with some charging £7 for a 99 cone.
7 quid for a 99?
7 quid?
I could have gone higher than that. £7 for 99.
Am I right in saying, wasn't the whole point of it being 99 that it was 99p? Am I right?
You know what? It would make sense, because why else would you call it 99? Yeah. A flake in an ice cream.
The origins are disputed on that one.
Oh, are they?
Apparently it's the flake that was called the Flake 99. So that's why it's called a 99.
What do you mean? But it's not got anything to do-
The chocolate.
Yeah. But that wasn't to do with the cost.
It wasn't to do with the cost, it was
Right.
to do with the chocolate, apparently.
Because when I was a boy, they were 2p for a 99. It was
2 shillings.
2 shillings.
2 shillings.
2 and 6.
But they were about £1 when I grew up. I knew that.
Yeah, it was about £1. I remember the ice cream van coming, which you don't see that anymore either. Did you see the ice cream van?
Well, I was with an ice cream van on Saturday. Get this, this is so good. So went to a christening, and they asked the ice cream man to pop in at 4 o'clock. So literally pull onto the drive, and then they paid for everyone's ice cream.
Great idea.
But I just did the quick maths. There are about 30 people at this christening.
Yeah.
They gave him £200. So how much is that per ice cream? £6.60. Bang on.
Bang on. Wow. There you go.
£6.60 ice cream.
Rip-off.
Yeah.
What a rip-off.
I thought it was being very generous with the sauce and the nuts and the toppings.
Well, I should hope.
Well, now we know why.
So who is it that's charging the 7 quid?
Well, just it looks
general ice cream.
I mean, it's going to be Londoners here, right? So in West London, near the Science Museum in Kensington, Rosie Bragger, who's a holidaymaker, 42, gave a chilling review.
She did.
Chilling, get it? See, this is good.
Great writing.
For our 4 ice creams, it cost nearly £26.
Ooh.
Despite a 99...
That is steep.
Hey, see? Despite a 99 cone costing 99p in the 1990s...
There you go.
The name has nothing to do with the price.
There you go again.
You would assume,
We're both
wouldn't
right.
you?
Yes.
Yeah.
You would assume.
You would assume. Anyway, that is ridiculous.
It's for tourists. They're trying to rip off tourists, aren't they? Yeah. If they're doing it in around South Kensington.
£7 for an ice cream, though, is bonkers.
You'll start getting those bike thieves snatching the ice cream soon, reselling
That'll be the next thing. Yeah.
They go by this person with a phone, ice cream. You see the bike goes past, they go,
it's more valuable than the ice
cream.
cream.
Ice cream.
Yeah.
What's more valuable? Exactly.
26 quid. Quick job.
Well, let us know if you can beat that one. Can you beat £7 for a 99 cone?
Have you got any ice cream horror stories?
gbnews.com/.
That's the first ever time anybody's done a ice cream horror stories. Phone in and is that right? I think it's never been done before.
Paul, we've been doing. We're Britain's #1 news channel for a year now.
Come on,
and for a reason.
That's what we want.
And for a reason, because we expose stuff like this on the national airwaves.
Yeah.
Right,
anyway,
let's move on.
Should we have a look at our top story?
Yes.
At 6:05, a senior police chief has threatened legal action against Prime Minister Andy Burnham in an effort to prevent the killers of PC Andrew Harper from walking free under the early release scheme.
Yeah, shocking stuff. Well, the family of the murdered police officer have expressed outrage at the Prime Minister's decision to allow offenders convicted of manslaughter to be released early, branding the move an utter betrayal.
Well, the Daily Mail also reported this morning that 9,000 domestic abusers could be back on Britain's streets by 2029 under this scheme.
Yes, all right. Well, joining us this morning in the studio is commentator Benedict Spence. Benedict, this is, it's a bit of a shambles, really. And I think that the key part of this story is that the Prime Minister is now on holiday. He's been 2 weeks in the job. He knew all of these things were brewing, and yet he's got a bunch of prisoners being released, domestic abusers, 9,300 over the next few years. I mean, who's steering the country?
Well, it turns out that there's already a series of thieves on the streets of Britain, given how much they're charging for ice cream.
Well,
I had no idea. But, yeah, honestly, it's one of those things, of course, where we had this actually at the start of Sir Keir Starmer's premiership as well, where one of the first things he came out and announced was, we have in this country a set amount of people who are in prisons. That's too many. We're going to have to release more. And he tried to make that an early cornerstone of his time in office, saying we're going to have a complete reappraisal of how criminal justice works and how many people get sent to prison in this country to begin with. It went really, really, really badly because immediately then you had a spate of very high-profile violent acts, and of course we had the outbreak of riots in certain parts of the country, and it completely undermined his credibility. Criminal justice is not something you can get away with not doing properly. And this, of course, we're all living now with the legacy of the coalition government and its decision to cut prison spaces and 40% in real terms to the MOJ justice when it was in power. This is why we now find ourselves in a position where the government is having to talk about releasing people early. Now, it's gone down from 6,000 to 5,000 because Andy Burnham, of course, one of the first things he did do, to his credit, was say, whoa, hang on a second, this isn't actually what I want to do. Let's have another look at this. But clearly, we're still talking about 5,000 people being released. That's a hefty number. And as you say, it is going to be violent abusers. It's going to be criminals with all sorts of backgrounds. Now, there are some high-profile cases. And we're talking about here the murder of P.C. Harper, the death of P.C. Harper, rather. And 2 of the 3 people convicted of that, it does look like are going to be released. That's Jessie Cole and Albert Bowers. These are not just violent acts, they're highly emotive acts. Because, of course, you're not just talking about dangerous individuals, it's the impact that that has on victims. And as you say, is this something that's now, I think, going to end up defining Andy Burnham? Is this, a sign that he can't really lead? To give him, to be fair, he's not been in power very long. No. He was hoping that Keir Starmer would give him a little bit more time by not resigning straight away. Once again, Keir Starmer doing the country a massive favour by doing what he wanted to do rather than what was in the best interest of the country. But you can't get away with releasing prisoners early and not have a viable plan to say, in this amount of time, I will have built X many number of prison spaces to put these people back again if they reoffend.
Well, let's stay with P.C. Harper in that case, shall we? Because these killers, we got that photo of the killers in court. These are 2 men that felt no shame, who felt no remorse, who were laughing and smirking their way through proceedings. They didn't think that these pictures would make the press because at the time they were 17 years old. They did then make the press, so we are aware of what these men are and the fact that they felt no remorse. Why could an exception not be made in this case for killers of an emergency worker to serve their full sentence? Because that would only be a small number of people.
Well, so this is because I think that they were accessories to manslaughter. Neither of these men were the driver in this instance. And Henry Long, who was the main driver, is not being released early. So I think that that's what's being taken into account here, is that these 2 people, whether they were egging him on or not, they were not the main cause of P.C. Harper's death. That'll, I think, come as very little consolation to his family. And frankly, it'll come as little consolation to most members of the public, because they will look at those photographs and they will go, it doesn't really matter what age they were or anything like that. You ought to know at that age between right and wrong. Yes. And the fact that they have been let out early, especially at an early age, is telling people, oh, there are exceptions, there are get-out clauses. It won't be something necessarily impacts your entire adolescent and young adult life, because here you are getting it given back to you. And I think in particular the idea that people can, as you say, kill an emergency service worker, a police officer, and get out early. I would have thought, and most people would have thought, those would be the exact people that you would make serve their full sentence. But of course that just doesn't happen happen in this country anyway.
No.
And now we're letting them out even earlier.
Yeah, it's really shocking. It's really, really shocking to so many people because we knew this was coming, but the Prime Minister did say when Andy Burnham was set to become Prime Minister, he would specifically review this case and do everything in his power. Now, perhaps when a Prime Minister says, I'm going to do everything in my power, we believe, and the British public believe, something is going to change.
Yeah.
However, that's not the case.
It's a tricky one because on the one hand, I think we would all like it very much if a Prime Minister could bring the hammer down, so to speak, and go, no, this person's never getting released at all. But at the same time, do we want to give Prime Ministers that kind of absolute power where they can decide, because of bad press headlines, oh, I'm actually going to punish somebody more than bad? Because this is the thing, we're talking about 1,000 people not being released as part of this, but within that 5,000 that are being released, who knows what kind of individuals there are, and who is to say, simply because this is a more high-profile case, that some of those wouldn't be more deserving than these two, or less deserving. So that's the tricky thing, I think.
Indeed, indeed.
Benedict, thank you. We're going to see you again in the next hour. Thank you very much.
Well, Justice Secretary Alex Norris, who spoke to us yesterday, also gave the following statement. The Prime Minister and I have reviewed these reforms, listened to the concerns and gone further to protect victims. Victims will also have access to better support and reassurance that offenders leaving prison face tougher supervision and punishment.
Now, 12 minutes past 6. Let's take a look at some other stories coming into the newsroom on this Wednesday morning.
Authorities have arrested a man who was seen near a golf course owned by President Donald Trump in the Los Angeles area. That's ahead of the president's visit there for a fundraising dinner. Investigators say 38-year-old Gian John Taylor was found with a pistol and illegal ammunition at the Trump National Golf Course.
The official guidance on use of toilets and changing rooms as single-sex spaces comes into force today, a year and a half after the landmark Supreme Court ruling on biological sex. The code states that transgender people should use either gender-neutral facilities or the ones that match their biological sex.
Princess Eugenie and her husband Jack Brooksbank have welcomed their daughter, who was born on Monday the 3rd of August. The Princess gave birth to their baby at a hospital in Lisbon, Portugal. Both mother and the baby are doing well.
30 minutes past 6, and we're turning now to a crime that has shocked the world. An Afghan boxer accused of murdering a British woman in Greece allegedly used a burner phone to send messages to her friends.
Well, reports claim he posed as a jihadist, falsely suggesting she had been killed because of her Christian faith.
Well, the 26-year-old migrant is due to appear in court in Greece later this morning. It's after the body of 38-year-old Elizabeth Jane Ross was found inside a suitcase.
Oh, absolutely. This story is just absolutely dreadful. We're now joined by Nick Pisa, senior reporter at the Daily Mail. Nick, thanks for joining us this morning, because this story is now developing quite rapidly, perhaps given the attention it's receiving worldwide. Nick, tell us a little bit more about how it's developed since yesterday.
Well, yes, as you said there in your introduction, this man, Sharif Ahmadzai, who's 26 years old, a semi-professional boxer, he's due in court in Athens in the next couple of hours. He'll be appearing before an investigating magistrate behind closed doors, as is usually the case when these trials open in Greece, and the charges will be officially put to him. They are murder and theft and robbery. And it's just unbelievable, really, when you think about it. The victim, Elizabeth Jane Ross, 38 years old, from Edinburgh, was actually in Athens to do humanitarian work. She'd been working with refugees in Athens for many, many years. And the man accused of her murder, who apparently, reportedly in the Greek media this morning, has apologised for her death, although he insists he had nothing to do with it. He claims that he went to the apartment that Elizabeth was staying in Athens and found her dead and panicked and didn't know what to do. But then, as you said there, he used this burner phone to claim that she'd been murdered because of a jihadi and because of her religious background. We know that she was very religious as well. But then, messages were being sent to her father as well, claiming this. But we know that the Sharif's wife was very suspicious of his movements the day that Elizabeth went missing on July the 15th. She used Find My iPhone and found that he was actually in the apartment where she was staying. And then, tragically, as we know, her body was later found in that abandoned building in Athens on July the 18th.
It's just the most horrific case, isn't it, Nick? It is important that we mention as well the wife of the accused. I know that you were telling us a little bit about her yesterday, but her family have also been speaking out now, haven't they?
Yeah, that's right. Alina Hall, she's American-born, but moved to Athens again to try and help refugees as well. That's what that she was doing there, and she met the man accused of Elizabeth Jane's murder, the Sharifa Madzai, who's from Afghanistan. I mean, he arrived in Lesbos, which is an island just off the coast of Turkey, which is actually a stepping stone for migrants coming from that area, from Afghanistan, Iran, Iraq, that area. He arrived as a 16-year-old illegal immigrant and then moved on to Athens. He was actually used as a poster boy, if you like, for the Red Cross, saying, you know, how triumph adversity. This guy has come all the way from Afghanistan because they used his backstory of the fact that his parents had been killed by the Taliban. And he was obviously given housing and he became a legal migrant. And that's where he met, as you can see in your picture there, Alana. And they set up this charity in Athens for migrants called Every Nation Loves Athens. And they were working there with refugees, NGOs like Elizabeth Jane Ross. But then obviously she was murdered, as I say, about a month or so ago now, we think, by Sharifa Madzai. The motive behind it is unclear at the moment because they haven't been able to establish whether there was perhaps some romantic interest that was spurned by Elizabeth Jane Ross, or whether she discovered him looking through her belongings, looking for her bank card, because we know that besides from using that telephone to send messages, he also bought another telephone, which he gifted to Alana, and also gave Alana, his wife, €2,500, which again set alarm bells ringing for her, wondering where all this money had come from.
Oh, absolutely horrendous. It really is. And thoughts are just with the family having to see this all play out on the national press. But of course, it has got such high attention given what's happened, given its international presence, and obviously we all know what's going on with the crisis as well.
The video as well that you can see is also quite disconcerting. I don't know if you've played it before, haven't you? Where you can see him wheeling the suitcase down the street, and then he reappears a few minutes later without that suitcase as well. It's just awful, as you say. It's terrible, terrible tragedy to have befallen Elizabeth.
Yeah, it really is, Nick. Well, thank you so much for bringing us the latest on that, and I'm sure we'll see you again for more updates on this case, because it's developing very, very quickly now.
Thanks, Nick. Good to
Peter,
see you. Thank you.
Well, I think that's a good time for us to get a daily reflection. And actually, it's been quite heavy this morning. We're talking about prison release. We're talking about what's going on with this case. I think we should get a bit of levity, shall we?
Yeah.
The GB News Daily Reflection.
Hi, I'm Chris Tufnell, a vicar in the Church of England. I'm pleased to say my wife is an excellent cook, but she hasn't got a sweet tooth, and I really have. So after dinner, I often find myself standing in the kitchen looking longingly into the fridge. At that point, she sometimes walks past and says, "What are you looking for?" And I say, "I don't know, I just want something else." I stare at the yogurt for a while. When I get cold, I turn to the fruit bowl. Then I move on to one of the cupboards in search of something more exciting. And I tend to end up back at the fridge reconsidering the yogurt. I know I want something else, but I'm not sure what I'm looking for or that I'm looking in the right place. Perhaps you can relate to that, not just in the kitchen, but in life. A kind of hunger for something more. You might not be sure what it is or whether you've been looking in the right places, but you keep looking, hoping something might turn up. Maybe the right relationship, the right job, the right house, the right experience. I don't know, but something. Jesus made an extraordinary claim. He said, "I am the bread of life. Whoever comes to me will never go hungry, and whoever believes in me will never be thirsty." We spend much of life looking for something, but I've certainly found that the deepest hunger of my heart has been satisfied by someone, the one I believe each of us is looking for, whether we realize it or not. Jesus says, "I am the bread of life."
That's Chris Tufnell there with our daily reflection on this Wednesday morning.
Wonderful stuff, wonderful stuff.
He is brilliant.
He is. But coming up after the weather, we're going to be talking about Piddington. We're going to talk about the mega dinghy, because guess what, Ellie? Despite yesterday, a lot of people in the establishment media saying you can't take the boats back, can't take the migrants back to France. That's exactly what happened yesterday.
Exactly what happened yesterday, actually. And, you know, Reform UK have been talking about humanitarian missions. Well, that's exactly what happened yesterday. Everybody on board was taken back to France and safely. Everybody survived.
Funny that.
Otherwise could have been a fatal accident, because it was sent to flames, didn't it?
It was indeed. There you go. So it can be done, and we're going to find out a little bit more about that after the weather with Aidan McGivern.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello, very good morning to you. Welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. It's going to feel fresher for all of us today. Showers for many, especially towards the north and west. Thunderstorms for some, impactful thunderstorms with hail, lightning and torrential rain. Now, we've already seen some showers to start the day towards the north. We'll see showers pop up also across parts of Wales, western and northern England. Longer spells of rain for Northern Ireland, western Scotland, but the biggest storms are likely to develop through the afternoon for northeast Scotland with hail, thunder, 50 millimetres of rain accumulating in several hours. Dry, though, yet again through the Midlands, East Anglia and the South East, although with a fresher feel. Temperatures back towards average, mid-20s with lower humidities. However, for much of Scotland, it's going to feel actually quite miserable in places. A lot of rain there through the north and west of Scotland, 13 Celsius, a strong breeze. Some brighter spells towards the east, but only in between these lively thunderstorms. A little drier to end the day for Northern Ireland, but for much of northern and western England as well as Wales, we've got these scattered showers. They'll be hit and miss. Some places will avoid them. Others will get a bit of a soaking, but they avoid, once again, East Midlands, East Anglia and the South East. Staying dry as we end the day and go into the start of Thursday. Clear spells overnight. A bit more comfortable for sleeping, however, with those lower humidities, a fresh breeze coming from the northwest. Temperatures in the low teens rather than the high teens that we've seen during the last few nights. We start the day on Thursday with, again, significant contrasts across the UK. Dry, bright and warm in the south, but cloudy and cool with a strong breeze into the north and northeast. Showery rain coming south, breaking up through the day to give some drier and brighter weather. Certainly an improving picture for northern parts with some sunshine coming through. Staying dry once again in the south, however, with highs of 24 or 25 Celsius, much cooler towards the north.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Bold.
They are under no illusion.
Ray.
Are you a human trafficker?
Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get this on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
I'm going to do now, they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Some people enjoy lazy Sunday mornings, but not me.
What's the truth of the matter? So that's a very live question. Would you support him if he waters down these plans?
Before the spin sets in, I'll be getting to the truth.
This is personal.
No soft questions, no easy answers.
It's one thing if the state has rules in this country. It's another thing whether the police and others actually police them.
Setting the agenda and holding those in power to account.
You can't really blame her if the system is set up this way. You will not want to miss it, trust me.
The Camilla Tominey Show, Sundays from 9:30, only on GB News.
Well, children in Oxfordshire, a little village there, have sent letters and video messages to the Prime Minister Andy Burnham, pleading with him to keep them safe from the 1,250 asylum seekers set to be housed nearby.
Yes, one child wrote, "I love living in Piddington. I love playing in the park."
Meanwhile, a major air and sea rescue was launched yesterday after a mega dinghy caught fire and sank in the English Channel.
173 migrants were pulled safely back to France, with the vessel believed to have been carrying the second largest number of migrants ever recorded on a single crossing.
Well, former Immigration Minister Kevin Foster joins us now. Good morning, Kevin. I think, look, we'll talk about Piddington in just a second, but who knew we could actually take the migrants back from the Channel to France? We were told yesterday that was a breach of French sovereignty, but seemingly that's allowed.
Well, Alex, it is allowed where France consents, and it's actually not the first time a search and rescue operation in French waters with UK assets involved has resulted in people being returned to France. Your core difference here to perhaps what was being proposed the other day is that the French authorities specifically requested UK vessels to go into their waters to assist with the rescues, and as part of that, the condition would almost certainly have been that if we are going to go into French waters to assist people, we will return them to French ports. I think reading some of the details of this, when the boat initially got into difficulties, only a small number of those on board accepted help from the French authorities. It was only when the fire spread and the boat started to disintegrate that they then actually agreed to be rescued by the French, and the French requested UK resources to be involved. So that's the difference here, is this is something being done with permission of the French in French waters. Reform's proposal was very different in suggesting that the Royal Navy should operate in French waters without consent and return to the French coast without consent. That's perhaps a big difference here, is France has agreed.
173 migrants on this mega dinghy, Kevin. Is this a dangerous precedent that we're seeing here being set by these human trafficking gangs, just trying to get as many people as they can in a single vessel? Because it seems like this journey is getting more and more dangerous. We had 3 women dead inside a boat last week, and God knows what the rest of the summer will bring us.
There was an alleged stabbing on the beach in France the week before that, where migrants allegedly got onto another mega dinghy that made its way to Britain, allegedly, of course.
Yeah, we're certainly seeing a change in tactics. The average size of boat is getting bigger and bigger. Some theories this might be to do with some work being done to intercept the number of engines being able to be supplied for this trade. But Alex, you're right to highlight, this is not a nice group of people who say, would you mind awfully getting on this boat and travelling to France? We've seen fights, we've seen stabbings, we've seen actually violence between migrants themselves on some of these boats, or trying to get onto these boats as they fight with each other on the beaches. So, anyone who thinks that this is just, people, quietly, forming a little queue to get on a boat and then can sail over nicely to England. In many cases, these are people who have been involved in criminality themselves. They probably tend to carry on doing that, and they're already involved themselves with a criminal gang by the fact that they're actually on these boats. So it is a concern. And of course, the potential for loss of life is going up. You're seeing the incident we've just talked about, 173 people could have ended up in the water. That massively increases the risk of someone losing their life. And we saw, I think, 84 people confirmed die in the Channel in 2024. So, this is not a trade that, isn't without risk.
Indeed. And what we're talking about, some of the dangerous people, of course, that may or may not be coming over on the boats. We've also got to talk about Piddington. If you don't mind, Kevin, I'd just like to play a quick clip of the young children that have been encouraged to send videos to the Prime Minister. Let's just take a little look at that.
Dear Andy Burnham, I love our village. It's so important to me. Andy, I love Piddington. I love Piddington because I like walking my dog through the village. Mr. Burnham, I love Piddington because I like cycling through the village to see my friends.
Will Andy Burnham listen, though, Kevin?
Well, sadly, I suspect Andy won't, having seen what the reaction's been to protests in Crowborough and other sites where, Crowborough, where they promised faithfully they were only going to be there for a year and recently announced, we're going to be there till 2030. I suspect they won't be listening too much at all. I do accept the point that wherever the government proposes to put this type of facility, no one's going to say thanks very much. That's just what I was hoping to have in my local community. But communities should be better engaged. I think there's been very little effort to try and engage with the community by the government. That's what we've seen elsewhere. But what I have found interesting over the last about 24 hours is listening to many on the left who usually demand that children are given a voice, that we listen to children, now suddenly saying that when children express a view on this issue they don't like, that actually they should just let their parents speak for them.
So true, Kevin, and we constantly see the left use images of children, refugees and things like that, but when it comes to British kids pleading with the government, there seems to be little empathy shown for them. But thank you so much for joining us. That's former Immigration Minister Kevin Foster there. Always a pleasure to have you on the show, Kevin. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kevin. Well, a Home Office spokesperson has said the concerns of communities are central to immigration reforms and that it is working with local authorities to fairly disperse asylum seekers across ex-military sites.
Well, the Piddington Parish Council has been contacted for comment for that too.
Yeah, we should also say that Jack Carson is going to be live from Piddington for us today, all day on GB News. It's a special day of coverage. So from 8 o'clock, he's going to be on our programme. He's actually going to be speaking to one of the families, the parents of those children that you just saw there. They're going to be talking to Jack Carson, so you don't want to miss that just after 8 o'clock this morning.
That's right. Now, if you're travelling to work, here's your traffic and travel update.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The A282 anti-clockwise is closed at the Dartford crossing. The M1 northbound is closed between junction 12 at and 13, between junctions 12 and 13 near Daventry. The M6 southbound has a stranded vehicle causing slow traffic at junction 6, Spaghetti Junction. In Scotland, the A78 is closed in both directions between Dunlop Street and Ratho Street due to planned roadworks. Across Wales, the A40 from CFN Brynwich to Bobielch is affected by a collision. And on the trains, cross-country and Great Western Railway services have reduced service between Newport and Cardiff Central. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
That's right. Now, do stay with us still to come. Paul is back from his hollybobs.
Hello.
We're very pleased to see you.
Well, thank you. It's nice to be back. And the thing is, I've just been trying to help Gianni Infantino sort out the disaster of FIFA, but now I'm back. I think I've got it all sorted and we'll discuss very shortly.
Here at GB News, we made a promise to tell your stories. And on the 6th of August, we're marking 5 years of doing exactly that.
Celebrate with us by having your say. Join in the debates live on TV and radio.
And tune in as your favourite presenters are live across the country, from Leeds to Aberdeen, from Belfast to Barry Island.
Plus, join me in Essex for our biggest live show of the year. Tune in tomorrow, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome to Free Speech Nation with me, Josh Howard.
This is the show where each week we see what's happening in the world of culture, current affairs and politics.
First we'll say, welcome to the UK. Oh, thank you.
And we're not afraid to use our free speech so that you can use yours.
It's not controversial in the slightest to anyone who hasn't lost their mind.
Free Speech Nation, Sunday nights at 7 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
As soon as it hits 11 and the headlines come in,
the Late Edition brings you the breaking news from all the front pages.
Because the news is going to happen.
So get a head start today.
Patrick Christie's tonight, Late Edition.
Alex Armstrong tonight, Late Edition. From 11 o'clock every night.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain is not just a geographical expression. We are a people bound together by history and culture that are distinctively British. Join me to celebrate our music, theatre, artworks and literature which we can explore and enjoy together.
Everybody's welcome.
Sunday with Michael Costello. Every Sunday at 11 a.m. on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Do you trust what you're being told? Good, because neither do I.
Those are just facts.
I'm Alex Armstrong, and on my show, we'll expose the spin.
Well, I want to answer that, because you didn't let me last time, because you always speak over me.
The broken promises.
To deny that is denying the truth.
And the hypocrisy.
Needs to stop. You think we can allow?
Politics, policy, parliament. Nothing is off limits. No sugarcoating, no fear of offence, just the truth laid bare. Tune in every Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. for Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
All right. Well, we're just going to go straight to the sport, I think, aren't we?
Sports
Just go
time.
straight to the sport, Paul.
Gianni Infantino.
Gianni Infantino. See, are you fed up with talking about Gianni Infantino?
No.
It's been Aidan been talking about this a lot because it's the big story.
It is the big story.
And it's turning, and I'm watching this, and it's looking like Godfather 2 or Godfather. It's now because it is. It's so bizarre because then we're at the point where you've got the senior leaders, so they're all meeting. The senior leaders of FIFA. He's called an emergency meeting. Surprise, surprise. In Morocco today. Now, obviously, I say obviously, you're probably aware it's all about the plan to sell off FIFA's commercial and event operations, which has not gone down at all well. Involved Donald Trump's son-in-law, didn't it, as well? And it just stinks. So anyway, this has not gone well for Gianni Infantino. Arsene Wenger, who is now the chief of global football development, he said, no, this shouldn't be done. You've got Matthias Grafston, Secretary-General, who's gone against it. Prince Ali, who's the president of the Jordanian Football Association, has also gone against it. And he said that there's blackmail involved because when he didn't actually vote for Infantino before, that Infantino had said, well, prize money, you may not be getting your prize money then, and all this, and it's the whole thing
stinks.
It really does stink, and we knew what we thought about Gianni Infantino before this. But what I'm interested in, and this is for anybody to try and work out, why, if you're him, would you do this? Is it because power corrupts? I mean, we see it when it comes to politicians. People get involved in it for the right reasons, and then is it just pure greed? Is it human nature that just starts thinking, I could make more money, I could be this, I could be that? Because what eventually happens, and we've seen it in so many different walks of life, eventually it goes and then it collapses, and they take one step too far. And it seems that this is what's going to happen with him.
So what exactly are they doing now?
Well, this is the meeting, and what he's probably doing is now meeting with everybody and trying to say...
Reassure his position.
I need you back on my side. I did this for the right reasons. I did it to try... So it's not going to be the case where I'm making you money, because obviously that's not going to work now. So, he's a smart guy. But obviously, he's gone too far. I mean, we've seen how he was with Trump and the ridiculous peace prize that he announced. It's all about him. And it's just gone too far. And I just wonder how they are actually going to get rid of him. Because now you've got, if you're a member of FIFA, you've now got to think, now, am I doing this for football? Am I in this for me? Because if I back Infantino... is he the right horse to back? Because if he wins and I go against him, I'm out.
Yep.
Or if I go with him and then he gets the... So people are now...
It's politics.
It's totally politics.
Yep.
And this is what's going on at the moment. And football is way, way down the list with what's going on.
Yeah.
Big money, big politics.
Can we have a quick word on Jack Draper? Is he the new Emma Raducanu, do you think? The male version?
Well, it's injuries, isn't it?
Yeah,
He's a terrible
beset with
injury.
injuries.
He's playing in Montreal in the Canadian Open, and he lost to Frenchman Terence Atman. 6-3, 2-6, 6-2, and Wimbledon he didn't play in. Now, this is the game, but we do have footage of him, and I feel bad showing this because Jack got really upset and was overcome with emotion. So, now look, this is it here. Now, he's 4-1 down in the third set, and it looks like, is he just, like, leaning there and just trying to relax, but he's actually crying.
Yeah, sad.
So upset. And the last thing you want as a sportsman or anybody is someone sticking a camera right in your face. I mean, bless him. I feel bad showing it, but there we are.
It's tears of frustration, isn't it?
Of course it is.
So frustrated.
If you love what you do and you can't do it, you know, he's obviously realising he just can't perform.
And also, he's gone so far and done so well, and now with this arm injury, he couldn't play at Wimbledon, and the US Open's coming up, and he's now thinking, this is not going to happen for me either. So there you go.
Bless him.
That's all a bit depressing,
It is
isn't
a
it?
bit.
It's a depressing sport.
Well, there we go. So it can't all be happy days, can it? Next time, Paul, I want to hear about this cheating scandal.
Oh, this is...
In the Tour de France. Something a bit different, isn't it?
The way to cheat.
They've got their hands full.
Women's cycling.
Do stay tuned for that, just after 7 o'clock. Thanks, Coity.
Thank you.
Now, just time to tell you about the Great British Giveaway now. Time is ticking on your chance to win £60,000 in tax-free cash and a real gold bar worth over £5,000. Here are all of the details that you need.
One person is guaranteed to win over £65,000 worth of gold and cash. And that person could be you.
You could be our latest Great British Giveaway winner and join our exclusive list of giveaway champions.
First of all, we want to give you a ton of tax-free cash.
£60,000 in tax-free cash that you could use however you like. Treat your family, treat your friends,
or treat yourself to a luxury 5-star holiday somewhere like here, all as Santi by Domes Resorts.
Plus, you'll also receive a fine gold bar worth over £5,000.
Don't miss your chance to win over £65,000 worth of prizes.
For a chance to win, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pooled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Good luck, everybody. Well, ministers are drawing up plans to boost economic growth by borrowing.
More borrowing.
Billions and billions and billions of pounds that someday some of us will have to pay off. Stay tuned to find out how bad it really is.
We're going to be going through that and much more in the papers with Norman Baker and Suzanne Evans.
But first, your European forecast.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries. All sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Thunderstorms for some parts of Germany, Austria into the Czech Republic, fine elsewhere, and the heat continues to build on Thursday across Central and Eastern Europe. Mostly average temperatures or near average for Greece, but into Italy, Croatia, Slovakia, Romania, Hungary, it's exceptionally hot temperatures heading towards 40 Celsius. 1 or 2 thunderstorms, northern parts of Spain into Andorra. Otherwise, a lot of fine weather for Spain, for Portugal, and for the Canaries over the next few days.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Well, Charlie, as most of the viewers know, I would be involved in agriculture. This isn't quite agriculture. It's quite close to it, the cousins of. A lot of things that go on in agriculture are on display here. Thousands of people coming to this site, Ragley Hall, just about 45 minutes out of Birmingham.
We are the modern ruralists, and here today we have the craft yard. We've got 9 different crafts, all demonstrating what they're up to. Here we have the wheelwrights, and they're bonding a wheel here. So this is an ancient craft that's been going for about. Barney Murray's a bit of a legend, quite frankly. He's the national champion, master dry stone waller, comes from North Wales, and he's a bit of a Thor lookalike. So he's quite popular.
GB News, the People's Channel. GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
Now at 16 minutes past 8, the annual bike ride from Yorkshire to London is taking place today, aiming to honour the legacy of the Batley and Spen Labour MP Jo Cox, who was murdered by a far-right terrorist in June of 2016.
Well, the bike ride aims to champion a cause she was passionate about, as this year marks the 10th anniversary of her tragic death.
Kim, if we can just start with you, what is your sister's legacy?
Well, there's so much that we've got to be proud of that's been done in Jo's name. It's just been 10 years since she was murdered, and what has kept us going as a family has been the way that so many amazing people, including people like this amazing man, have done things in Jo's name to show what our country is really about. And you've got all these amazing people today from all different backgrounds, all walks of life, celebrating the things that we have in common, not agreeing on everything.
GB News, the People's Channel. Good afternoon, Britain. Weekdays from midday.
It's a difficult question. Honestly, I don't think I would at this rate, because I think the government tracks, when we say we're fighting for Britain, what are we actually fighting for? The concept of Britain, I don't think exists anymore. When I look at Britain, when I go outside, it doesn't seem to be very British. And I think the core demographic of the people who would normally fight, these white working class boys who, you know, have been fighting for Britain, who we expect just to sacrifice their life in a fight, you know, they've been demonised for decades and decades by the government, by our education system, by the media. Economically, they've been disadvantaged. So why would we expect them to risk their lives when we've demonised them for so long and took them for granted for so long? And this concept of Britain fighting for the British government, you know, the British government has betrayed us.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Let's have a look at the newspaper front pages on this Wednesday morning.
Well, the Telegraph leads on Andy Burnham's decision not to exclude the killers of PC Andrew Harper, of course, from the early release scheme, as critics argue justice has not been served.
In the Times this morning, ministers are planning to grow the economy by borrowing more.
That's right, and the Express accuses the French police of not doing enough to stop migrants dying in the Channel.
And finally, in the Mirror today, 40 deadly knives have been taken out of circulation every day since last July, marking a significant step towards the fight against knife crime.
And joining us this morning is former Liberal Democrat Minister Norman Baker and political commentator Suzanne Evans. Good morning, both of you.
Morning. Hello.
Right, Suzanne, we should start with this, because on the front page of the Times, borrowing, splurge and bid to boost the economy. Is there something wrong with that headline? Is it just me? Am I going mad?
I think there's something very wrong with the whole government that's generated that headline. But here we are. The government says it's going to go on a borrowing bonanza, despite the fact we're already $3 trillion in debt and borrowing $132 billion annually. And obviously the interest rates on that are absolutely extortionate. So it's absolute bonkers. But there you go. Andy Burnham's come in. He obviously wants to spend money. He particularly wants to spend money on devolution. And that's going to cost a pretty penny, I'd guess. I mean, I think it's appalling. You know, he's coming to office. He says he wants devolution. He's not telling us how much it's going to cost. But some of this money, the Times suggests, will be going to regional mayors. So there you go. There's the start of your answer here. So you might remember that back in 2022, I think it was, the then Conservative government, Rachel Reeves, in 25, changed the fiscal rules, gaming it really, changing the way in which debt was calculated, distinguishing between public spending and investment. That's what they called it, investment. Some of us might say it was a black hole for infrastructure on things like HS2. But there you go. Rachel Reeves kind of gamed the fiscal rules. So now the Treasury says, well, that means we can have another $9 billion. And it's just bonkers. I mean, when is this going to stop? You know, more and more taxes. What people like me want to see is our taxes cut and spending in government cut. Because we all know the waste. We talk about the waste every day on the paper review, on GB News, the waste in government, and yet on and on and on. And here we go, exploiting changes in fiscal rules brought in by Rachel Reeves to borrow yet more money for taxes wanted. Awful.
Norman, what do you make of it?
There's a very high borrowing amount that we've run up compared to our gross domestic product. I've forgotten what it is, it's about 100%.
It is 100% of GDP,
which is historically very high, Second World War type levels.
Yes.
And that's, to be fair to the government, they've inherited that by and large. They're going to borrow some more. There is a case for borrowing if you can demonstrate that what you're going to invest in is going to generate help for the economy rather than simply giving money away or wasting it. So in a sense the definition of what you borrow is important, but they've got to be very, very careful not to freak out the markets. We saw what Liz Truss did when she borrowed far too much money or started talking about far too many tax cuts. You've got to make things add up. So the confidence that the markets have is actually quite important. This is where someone like Gordon Brown, actually, when you think of Gordon Brown, talking about locking in stability and fiscal responsibility, all these phrases which sounded very good, actually did convince the market he knew what he was doing. So you've got to, it's psychological to some extent. So we'll see what they do, but I would just refer to the fact that if you look at the government's expenditure, there are three areas of expenditure really for government. One is borrowing, which is enormous, one's the NHS and one is benefits. And actually everything else is minuscule compared to those three.
Well, at the moment, servicing our debt costs about £111 billion a year. That is 8.3% of our total public spending.
Yeah, it's...
We're now talking about more.
Absolutely
Add $9 billion to that list.
And I take what Norman says, you know, about if you can invest in things that are going to benefit the economy. But the trouble is the government always seems to back the losers rather than the winners so often. Any investment, anyone knows, the small print always says, you know, your money might go up as well as down, or might go down as well as up. It's phrased like that, isn't it? And our government just doesn't seem to be very good. And as I say, these huge government projects that are supposed to be investment end up going up and up and up in costs. We've seen it with IT projects, we've seen it with NHS database projects, we've seen it with HS2.
HS2. I mean, I worked on HS2. I mean, we're going back 15 years ago.
Right.
I mean, that's how long this has been dragging on for. It's an utter joke.
Yeah.
Frankly, and we still haven't even finished it.
Nope.
They would have built 2 bullet trains in Japan by now.
Yeah.
But anyway, Norman, let's move on to something else, shall we? We've got this brutal summer leaving our farmers braced for the worst harvest on record. This is severe.
Yeah.
We've had a hottest June on record. We've had the driest July on record. There's been no rain hardly anywhere, particularly in the south, a bit more up north in Scotland. But that's leaving farmers in a very, very difficult situation where they've had to harvest really early, and as a consequence of that, there's less weight on the product, if you're looking at things like wheat, and they're going to get less money for it. And a lot of them are going to say they're going to make a loss this year as a consequence of the weather change. I mean, this is very, very serious. We're now seeing, as a consequence of climate change, we're now seeing much, much warmer summers and much, much wetter winters. I mean, the weather really is changing. You go back to, I mean, I'm old enough to remember how things were 30, 40 years ago, and they were not like this at all. I mean, the weather really has changed quite dramatically, and farmers are copying it, I'm afraid. There's another story next to this in the Telegraph, Alex, which is panicking blackberries ripe for an early picking, which is demonstrating that our fruit's coming out earlier, and blackberries are, quote, panicking, according to Telegraph, and ripening earlier than expected because of the soaring summer temperatures. I've got a mulberry tree in my backyard, and, you know, I know mulberries used to be ready in the second week of August.
Yeah.
They're all gone now. They've already gone.
Hold that thought to the next side, because I do want to talk more about this, because it's really important.
Definitely should.
And coming up here on Breakfast in just a few minutes' time, Reform UK Chairman Lee Anderson will be joining us from Calais, and we'll be taking more from the government and other parties too.
But first, here's your weather.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello, very good morning to you. Welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. It's going to feel fresher for all of us today. Showers for many, especially towards the north and west, thunderstorms for some, impactful thunderstorms with hail, lightning and torrential rain. Now, we've already seen some showers to start the day towards the north. We'll see showers pop up also across parts of Wales, western and northern England. Longer spells of rain for Northern Ireland, western Scotland, but the biggest storms are likely to develop through the afternoon for northeast Scotland with hail, thunder, 50 millimetres of rain accumulating in several hours. Dry, though, yet again through the Midlands, East Anglia and the South East, although with a fresher feel. Temperatures back towards average, mid-20s with lower humidities. However, for much of Scotland, it's going to feel actually quite miserable in places. A lot of rain there through the north and west of Scotland, 13 Celsius, a strong breeze. Some brighter spells towards the east, but only in between these lively thunderstorms. A little drier to end the day for Northern Ireland, but for much of northern and western England as well as Wales, we've got these scattered showers. They'll be hit and miss. Some places will avoid them. Others will get a bit of a soaking, but they avoid, once again, East Midlands, East Anglia and the South East, staying dry as we end the day and go into the start of Thursday. Clear spells overnight. A bit more comfortable for sleeping, however, with those lower humidities, a fresh breeze coming from the northwest. Temperatures in the low teens rather than the high teens that we've seen during the last few nights. We start the day on Thursday with, again, significant contrasts across the UK. Dry, bright and warm in the south, but cloudy and cool with a strong breeze into the north and northeast. Showery rain coming south, breaking up through the day to give some drier and brighter weather. Certainly an improving picture for northern parts with some sunshine coming through. Staying dry once again in the south, however, with highs of 24 or 25 Celsius, much cooler towards the north.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Thank you, Britain, for making GB News Radio such a huge success. Whether you're in the car, on the go or listening at home, thank you for choosing us as your radio station.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The M25 clockwise is blocked by a collision at junction 23 in South Mims. The M1 northbound is closed between junctions 15 and 15A in Daventry. The A43 is closed after the M1. The M11 southbound has an incident at junction 14 in Girton. The M27 westbound is congested between junctions 4 and 3 in Southampton West. Across Wales, the A40 from CFN Brynwich to Beebury Elch is affected by a collision. And on the trains, cross-country and Great Western Railway services have reduced service between Newport and Cardiff Central. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Welcome to Orla Santi by Domes Resorts, where we're celebrating with an incredible £60,000 to be won. Plus, we'll give you a fine gold bullion bar worth over £5,000. Don't miss your chance to win over £65,000 worth of prizes.
For a chance to win, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pulled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good morning. A top police chief threatens to take the Prime Minister Andy Burnham to court in an effort to stop PC Andrew Harper's killers walking free from prison early.
Yes, the Prime Minister's decision to include criminals guilty of manslaughter in the early prison release scheme is labelled an insult to PC Harper's loved ones.
As it's revealed that the scheme will also see more than 9,000 domestic abusers freed within just 3 years. Is this becoming the first major crisis of Burnham's government? And while the backlash mounts, the Prime Minister is on a 2-week holiday.
Oh, nice for some. Meanwhile, Piddington residents appealed to the government in a last-ditch effort to halt plans to house 1,250 migrants in the tiny Oxfordshire village with a population of just 300 people. Local children have been sending heartfelt messages to Andy Burnham.
To Andy Burnham, I like my village exactly how it is and I don't want it to be changed. Dear Prime Minister, I love the park in Piddington.
Well, Jack Carson is going to be speaking with one of those concerned families just after 8 o'clock, so you don't want to miss that.
And Ed Miliband makes his first trip stateside as Foreign Secretary. Is he regretting his past remonstrations of US President Donald Trump, including calling him a racist, perhaps?
Question this morning, is accepting an OBE condoning colonialism? Well, we're debating that after Professor David Olusoga criticised friends who told him not to accept the honour because he's black.
And a SpaceX rocket is set course to crash into the moon this morning. This is going to be sensational stuff, and we're hoping to bring you that breaking footage too.
And sport this morning, someone I'm sure most people would like to see go to the moon. FIFA President Gianni Infantino holds a crisis meeting in Morocco today in an attempt to cling on to power. Jack Draper burst into tears as he's knocked out of the Canadian Open, and riders in the Women's Tour de France will be checked for a bizarre way of cheating that makes them more aerodynamic.
Depending on where you are in the United Kingdom, it's either another wet day or another dry day. Another day of contrasts either way. I'll have the full details in the forecast coming up soon.
Good morning, it's just gone 7 o'clock. I'm Ellie Costello.
And I'm Alex Armstrong, and this is GB News Breakfast.
Now, do you ever get confused about what you can put in your fridge and what should stay out of your fridge? Because I do.
So we had this conversation this morning, didn't we?
We did.
Do you put eggs in the fridge or out of the fridge?
Eggs are in the fridge.
Right. So
What about you? The fridge.
Eggs out of the fridge. For
Oh,
you.
yeah.
So I'm eggs in the fridge kind of guy.
I knew you were.
I don't really care. I just put them in there because
That's why they
it's
have
easier
an
to
egg
store
tray.
them.
Well, I've always heard that eggs are... I never understood why there was an egg tray because I didn't think eggs are supposed to go in the fridge.
Do you know what else? In America, they don't have any milk in fridges. No, everything is outside of the fridge. All the milk.
What, milk?
Yeah.
Oh, come on, Alex. Where
I'm
do you
not
get that
joking.
from? It's nonsense.
No, it's not.
Where do you
It's not.
Where do you
It's
store
not
the milk?
outside the fridge. No, I've lived there. There was all the milk is outside the fridge. But I think that's because it's got so many chemicals in it. It doesn't. You know.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Again, surprised. I'm going with high voice again as I was an hour ago.
Well, there you go. Well, apparently more than
Yeah.
3/4 of British people are baffled about what you should and shouldn't put in the fridge. So this is the official list here. Yes, this is to put in the fridge. Apples, nuts.
Nuts?
Nuts in the
Crisps.
fridge.
Crisps.
Oh, come on, crisps in the fridge.
Fresh herbs, but not basil. And berries. But no, you cannot put tomatoes, watermelon, cake or bread.
And potatoes.
And potatoes.
Which I'm actually surprised about.
No one's putting
Yeah.
potatoes in the fridge, come on.
Well, I'm surprised to hear it, though, because surely you would think... I just think by keeping things cooler, you'd think, actually, it's better for everything.
I know a lot of
But
people
no.
put bread in the fridge to keep it... Apparently, it keeps it fresher. But maybe not.
I would never do that.
Would you not?
No, no. I know you can freeze bread.
Yes.
As my grandma used to do, because World War II generation.
Very
you know,
cute.
She just
Never waste it.
Even tea bags. We shared tea bag. You know, that's World War II mindset for you there.
Aw.
Yeah, bless her heart.
Oh, well, there you go. Well, let us know.
Nothing went to waste, Benedict.
Nothing went to waste.
Sat here to talk about, the potential release of prisoners. I'm thinking there's crime after crime after crime.
If only you could see Benedict's face as I'm looking across the desk.
Yeah, this is a whole different subject. I would need half an hour to get into.
Everyone will have an opinion on this one. one. Chocolate definitely belongs in the fridge.
Oh, yeah, and the fridge.
I think we can all agree on that one.
You people.
Oh, maybe.
Chocolate in the fridge.
See, here he goes. Come on, this is it.
Oh, no.
What, even at 34-degree heat, your chocolate's going to be...
Absolutely not. It's a perfect temperature to melt in my mouth. That's exactly what I want.
Anyway, let us know. You will have a view, gbnews.com/your
The butter doesn't melt in your mouth, though, does it,
No,
Benedict? I know that for a fact.
Very good.
There we go. There we
Now,
go.
let's have a look at our top story 5 minutes past 7, because a senior police chief has threatened legal action against Prime Minister Andy Burnham. It's in an effort to prevent the killers of PC Andrew Harper from walking free under the early release scheme.
Well, the family of the murdered police officer have expressed outrage at the Prime Minister's decision to allow offenders convicted of manslaughter to be released early, branding the move an utter betrayal.
Well, adding fuel to the fire, the Daily Mail reporting this morning that 9,000 domestic abusers could be back on Britain's streets by 2029 under the controversial scheme.
Well, joining us to talk about this is political commentator Benedict Spence. Benedict, yeah, this is day 2 now, headlines on this. And when it gets to day 2, you start to think, is this a crisis? Are we at crisis point?
Well, the reality is we've been at crisis point with prisons for some time, and this is something that we knew about on the first day of Keir Starmer's time as Prime Minister, remember him? And it didn't get addressed in that entire time. He came out and he said, I want to fundamentally change how we address justice in this country. I want us to have fewer people in prison, and it just didn't really go very well at all. So this is something that I think, on the one hand, it is going to be very bad for Andy Burnham to have to address. On the other hand, I do think that people have been aware of the scale of this problem for long enough that he won't necessarily get it in the neck, that he's the one having to make the difficult decisions. I think people understand that this is inherited from Keir Starmer and that he inherited it from the Conservatives, who themselves inherited it from the coalition. This is something that's been kicked down the can long enough, and this is the end result. You don't build any prison spaces, you end up having to let people out.
Where do we go from here, though, Benedict? Because the backlash just seems to be growing. We've got Thames Valley Police looking at potentially taking the government to court over all of this.
Yeah.
And we've seen this petition to block the killers of PC Andrew Harper from being released early.
Yeah, so that's Eileen O'Connor, who is the chair of the Thames Valley Police Federation, has said that she will seek or look into a judicial review over the release of 2 of the 3 individuals involved in the killing of PC Andrew Harper. And, of course, this is kind of ironic, given that PC Harper's widow has been pushing for people killed in the line of duty, murder, manslaughter, whatever it would be, to serve longer sentences or more of their sentences. So I think that this will come in a bit of a slap in the face for her, given her efforts as well. Now, these very sort of high-profile cases are emotive because we all understand, actually, having watched it in real time, the trauma that the family will have gone through. And we also, I think, all feel very strongly about the danger of putting people like this back onto the street, especially younger people, because the message actually that it sends to them is there are literally a get-out-of-jail-free conditions based on the severity of your crime. We know that it's emotive based on the fact that, as you say, there's a petition that's now well over 100,000, so it's over that threshold in which it hypothetically could be discussed in Parliament. As to whether or not I think it will have that kind of impact, I don't know, because I think that the Prime Minister would turn around and justifiably say, listen, there are going to be very serious topics, very serious individual cases, but we can't go through every one of these individually, because you could then do it for 5,000 people who are going to be released, and that will include very dangerous individuals. I know Andy Burnham has said it's not going to be the most dangerous, it's not going to be child rapists, for instance, that sort of thing is very firmly off the table, but it will involve people who have killed other people, and that's always going to be a motive.
We did put this to the Prisons Minister yesterday, and he said, look, we can't make special cases for individuals, unfortunately. We've got to treat them broadly under the scope of the law. They just don't have that kind of power, but there you go. Benedict, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Been good to see you, thank you. Well, as Alex was just saying, we spoke to the Justice Secretary, Alex Norris, yesterday on the programme. He's also given us this following statement. The Prime Minister and I have reviewed these reforms, listened to the concerns and gone further to protect victims. Victims will also have access to better support and reassurance that offenders leaving prison face tougher punishment and supervision.
All right, well, look, joining us now is Reform UK Chairman Lee Anderson, who is in Calais at the centre of the small boats migrants crisis. Good morning, Mr Anderson. It's day 2 for you there in Calais. Do you want to just give us an update as to what you've seen over the last 24 hours?
Yes, it's been very interesting, Alex. Yesterday morning we was on the beaches in between Dunkirk and Calais at approximately 4:30 a.m. Quickly followed by the local police, armed to the teeth, came onto the beach asking us all sorts of questions, asking for ID, asking what we were doing there, etc., literally hassling us. And by the way, they've turned up again this morning to do pretty much the same. But we didn't see any boats. We saw evidence of the boats where they crossed. They're crossing the debarkation, if you like, the We saw the a place where the migrants hide in the sand dunes. We saw where the boats are dragged up the hill and put into the sea. We then visited the migrant camps in northern France yesterday. A huge camp with 2,500 people there. Lots of women, lots of children, and as I've said on the media round already, it's a big difference from when I last came 3.5 years ago, in that it's not just all men now, there's families, there's a whole communities there, and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And one of the standout moments for me was the amount of men that were covering their faces up as we walked by with the cameras. It makes you wonder why they have to cover their faces up, you know, where they're from, what have they been up to in their own country, and we know where they're destined. They're coming to the UK and probably into an HMO on a street of your viewers.
Lee, what do you think's changed then in the last 3.5 years, where we're now seeing women and children in these camps as well? Do you think that it is that the men have been successful in crossing the channel and now the women and children are coming too? But we know that that is so dangerous, considering those 3 women who were dead inside a boat in the channel just last week.
It's extremely dangerous, but it is a lot more organised this time. The prices are a lot cheaper. So I was speaking to some migrants are paying probably 1,200 euros to come across the channel. It will take them, in some circumstances, many times getting on a dinghy and trying. But they see it as an easy route now to get to the UK. It's like almost legal migration for them. They abuse the asylum system. You know, they tick all the boxes once they get here when they're putting their claim in, and they're never going to leave this country. So a lot of these people coming over now see it as a way for a better life. They're economic migrants. They're not fleeing persecution, a lot of them. I suspect the state of the camp I went in yesterday, they're probably suffering more persecution in that camp. The way they live in squalid conditions is awful. On a human level, I've said it before, you have to feel sorry for the children. But what kind of adults would put their children on a boat, on a dinghy, in the English Channel to make that perilous journey across there, putting their own children's lives at risk? And quite frankly, they can just claim asylum in France or any of the other 6 or 7 countries that they pass through on the way to Northern France.
Lee, we saw yesterday the mega dinghy that got stuck in the channel, 173 souls on board of that mega dinghy. What do? Well, we seem to bring them back to France. Now, I put this to a former Conservative immigration minister, and his response was, this is nothing like what you're proposing, which was, of course, Operation Fortress, where you pick up migrants in the channel and then would return them safely to France. He said there's nothing like that. What would you say to those claims?
I would say, first of all, Alex, who was that Tory minister?
Kevin Foster.
I'll be having a chat with him later, honestly. I mean, Kevin's got a lot to answer for, and the previous Tory government. Yes, you can. If you're rescuing people in the channel, let's be honest, guys, these mega dinghies now, there's no way they're going to make it across the channel with 150 people on. They're relying on being picked up. So we have to rescue these people on these boats, because otherwise they'll drown. So let's rescue them. Let's take them back to France. And by the way, this benefits France as well, because if we can solve the migration problem, empty the camp, stop people dying in the channel, then it's got to be a win for everybody.
Mr. Anderson, when you've been speaking to the migrants in these camps, are they telling you why specifically they want to risk their lives to come to the UK? Why don't they want to stay in France, which is a safe country, a Western country? They could set up a very good life for themselves there. Why are they risking it all to cross the channel? What is it about the UK specifically why they want to be here?
Well, we're a soft touch. When you look at it, they're living in squalor, living in tents. There's fishies. It's like living in a rubbish dump. Really, that's where they live in. There must be diseases. Crime must be rife. And when they think within a matter of hours they can jump on a ferry, get rescued, and be in a 4-star hotel somewhere in England, 3 square meals a day, Wi-Fi, new clothes, bust into town, pocket money. I mean, why wouldn't they come? We're a soft touch. It's as simple as that. We are a soft touch.
We seem to get to a position now where I think the British public want to see some form of action, but you're getting a lot of resistance, particularly from establishment media, to your plan to deploy the Royal Navy. The French are pushing back on the idea of it as well, Mr. Anderson. What do you say to those critics that will say, actually, you need permission from the French to take those migrants from the English Channel and return them to France?
I say to those critics, Alex, shut up. We're the only party with a credible plan. We will save lives in the channel. We'll save the lives of women and children, and we'll stop the illegal migration trade. It's as simple as that.
OK, Lee Anderson, thank you very much for your time this morning. Good to see you.
Yeah, interesting stuff, isn't it? Because this plan to return migrants to France is met with such resistance. And I understand, I mean, people are challenging policy. That's what people do. That's what the press does. That's what politicians do. They will make sure that they're playing the political game. But on the other hand, when we see the action taken yesterday to rescue those migrants, and you could say every time we intercept migrants in the Channel, it is a rescue mission.
Yeah, well, it's saving lives, isn't it?
That's what
Such a dangerous trip.
That's right. That's what the RNLI also say they do. So when does a rescue become a rescue, and when is a rescue not a rescue? And I think this is the difficulty that we get into when we're actually trying to make these very convoluted points about actually here's when the French determine a rescue and here's when they don't. I think people are getting a bit fed up with it all.
Yeah, Sue's made a good point, saying if we stop the pull factor here in Britain, then you wouldn't get the migrants heading to France in mass either. So it'd be a good thing for the French as well. Good point, Sue.
Jordan Bardell, I think, was writing a piece, maybe perhaps in the Telegraph the other day, saying something very similar. You know, we'll stop the pull factors, but he said he will stop the boats. There you go.
Yeah.
Well, moving on to a very popular person on this channel, I believe. Our audience love this minister. Ed Miliband will travel to Washington today in his first visit as Foreign Secretary. But will he receive a warm welcome from the White House?
Well, the former Labour leader has previously been an outspoken critic, shall we say, of President Trump, once describing him as a racist and a misogynist.
Indeed. Freddie Gray, Deputy Editor at The Spectator, joins us now. Freddie, good morning to you. Thanks for joining us today, as ever. Ed Miliband, his first trip as Foreign Secretary over to Washington. He's called Donald Trump some absolutely horrendous things. I think racist was one of them. Donald Trump does seem to this sort of brushes off of him. David Lammy famously called him silly names as well in the past. Is there a case to say that Ed Miliband will be greeted warmly in Washington?
Well, good morning, Alex. Good morning, Ellie. It'll be interesting to see. I think Labour hope that, much like David Lammy, who, of course, said lots of terrible things about Donald Trump in the past and then regretted it, Ed Miliband is a similar figure in that vein. I think, though, for him, it is difficult because his politics and his worldview are so directly antithetical to Trump world, and particularly on international law and the environment, on climate change and net zero, etc. It's known that some of Team Trump called Miliband Milliwatt as a sort of joke because they regard Britain's energy policies as so disastrous. And the US ambassador in London was known to be fiercely critical of Miliband. And they really saw him as one of the big reasons why Britain, a country which they want to see grow economically, was failing to grow economically because he was in charge of the energy policies that are hampering our growth. However, there are important things going on in the world, namely Ukraine and Iran, and these two wars that risk fusing into one war, into a wider regional war. And Britain is a key partner for America in the Ukraine war, a complicated partner because Trump and Britain have not always seen eye to eye on the Ukraine war. Trump has been more keen to strike a deal with Russia than Britain has. Britain's been far more on Ukraine's side. However, that has changed in recent months. America is now far more open to Britain's position on Ukraine, it seems. Whether Miliband will be able to focus on those things and not, lecturing the Americans about climate change and international law, that remains to be seen.
Well, with all of that in mind, Freddie, was Ed Miliband a very strange choice as Foreign Secretary? Because not only has he personally insulted the president before on a number of occasions, but as you say, they're completely opposed when it comes to our energy policy, which is one of the number one issues that President Trump takes with this country. He loves his country very much, but he has an issue with our immigration policy and he has an issue with our energy policy. And we've sent over the man who loves net zero and is passionate about wind farms. And we know that President Trump hates windmills, as he describes them.
Didn't he call countries that have wind farms losers?
He did.
Well, perhaps. I mean, a lot of people sort of think, a lot of people in Westminster think that actually Foreign Secretary now, we saw this a bit with Cameron, it's become a kind of prestigious role, a kind of a TV role in some ways, and it doesn't have the political weight that it used to. And Burnham, by making Miliband Foreign Secretary, was sort of giving him the best job he could without really insulting him. I'm not sure the Americans see it that way. Miliband today will meet Marco Rubio, who is Secretary of State, and they regard Secretary of State and Foreign Secretary as sort of similar roles. And so they will regard Miliband as a very important person, even if in Labour circles, or high Labour circles, he's slightly on the ousters at the moment.
All right, Freddie, I wonder if Mr Miliband will be meeting the other Miliband, who's not far from him in New York City, perhaps, because there were rumours that he was getting a job.
Oh, there was, yes. Maybe they'll have a nice reunion stateside.
Who knows what's going on in that brotherhood?
Indeed, Freddie, indeed. Well, it's always a pleasure to have you. Thanks for joining us this morning. Freddie Gray, Deputy Editor at The Spectator.
Thanks, Freddie.
Yeah, fascinating stuff, isn't it? It's just like this country just gets more and more bizarre, I think. I feel like we've just been living in a fever dream.
Yeah, it's not coming to a close anytime soon, I fear.
Probably not.
It's more every day. Anyway, there is more sunshine today, I think. Should we get all the details with Aidan McGibbon?
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello, very good morning to you. Welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. It's going to feel fresher for all of us today. Showers for many, especially towards the north and west. Thunderstorms for some, impactful thunderstorms with hail, lightning and torrential rain. Now, we've already seen some showers to start the day towards the north. We'll see showers pop up also across parts of Wales, western and northern England. Longer spells of rain for Northern Ireland, western Scotland, but the biggest storms are likely to develop through the afternoon for northeast Scotland with hail, thunder, 50 millimetres of rain accumulating in several hours. Dry, though, yet again through the Midlands, East Anglia and the South East, although with a fresher feel. Temperatures back towards average, mid-20s with lower humidities. However, for much of Scotland, it's going to feel actually quite miserable in places. A lot of rain there through the north and west of Scotland, 13 Celsius, a strong breeze. Some brighter spells towards the east, but only in between these lively thunderstorms. A little drier to end the day for Northern Ireland, but for much of northern and western England as well as Wales, we've got these scattered showers. They'll be hit and miss. Some places will avoid them. Others will get a bit of a soaking, but they avoid, once again, East Midlands, East Anglia and the South East, staying dry as we end the day and go into the start of Thursday. Clear spells overnight. A bit more comfortable for sleeping, however, with those lower humidities, a fresh breeze coming from the northwest. Temperatures in the low teens rather than the high teens that we've seen during the last few nights. We start the day on Thursday with, again, significant contrasts across the UK. Dry, bright and warm in the south, but cloudy and cool with a strong breeze into the north and northeast. Showery rain coming south, breaking up through the day to give some drier and brighter weather. Certainly an improving picture for northern parts with some sunshine coming through. Staying dry once again in the south, however, with highs of 24 or 25 Celsius, much cooler towards the north.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
All right, should we have a look at some other stories coming into the newsroom?
Yes, let's, because authorities have arrested a man who was seen near a golf course owned by the US President Donald Trump in Los Angeles. It's ahead of the president's visit there for a fundraiser. Investigators say a 38-year-old was found with a pistol and illegal ammunition at the Trump National Golf Course.
An abandoned SpaceX rocket is set to collide with the moon after spending nearly a year drifting through space. Well, the rocket is expected to make an uncontrolled impact on the lunar surface, creating a crater and sending a cloud of dust and debris into space. This is going to be awesome.
Yeah,
We're going to try
it
and
is.
bring you the footage when it happens.
Now, just a warning that what you're about to hear could be distressing because the media personality Perez Hilton has been hospitalised. It was after he was seen covered in blood during a TikTok live stream last night. The celebrity blogger was allegedly harming himself in his Miami home, sparking a flurry of calls from those watching online. Officers have since confirmed that Mr. Hilton was alone inside the home and is now receiving medical attention at a local hospital.
Now, of course, because of that very upsetting story, and there's a lot of it online today, we just want to say if you've been affected by the Paris Hilton story, Samaritans are available day and night, 365 days a year. You can call them for free on 116 123, email them at joe@samaritans.org or visit samaritans.org to find your nearest branch.
Now, 24 minutes past 7. Still to come, just after 8 o'clock, we're going to be speaking to the Opposition Assistant Whip, Katie Lamb, from the Conservatives. She's going to be telling us how the Tories plan to free up 7 million hours of police time.
First, historian David Olusoga says that he was urged to reject his OBE because he's black. This is a really interesting story because, well, we'll tell you a little bit more about it, so hang on. We're going to be getting into that next. It's very interesting.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Bold. They are under no illusion. Ray. Are you a human trafficker? Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get us on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Do you trust what you're being told? Good, because neither do I.
Those are just facts.
I'm Alex Armstrong, and on my show, we'll expose the spin.
Well, I want to answer that because you didn't let me last time, because you always speak over me.
The broken promises.
To deny that is denying the truth.
And the hypocrisy.
Needs to stop. You think we can allow?
Politics, policy, parliament. Nothing is off limits. No sugarcoating, no fear of offence, just the truth laid bare. Tune in every Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. for Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel. Some people enjoy lazy Sunday mornings, but not me.
What's the truth of the matter? So that's a very live question. Would you support him if he waters down these plans?
Before the spin sets in, I'll be getting to the truth.
This is personal.
No soft questions, no easy answers.
It's one thing if the state has rules in this country. It's another thing whether the police and others actually police them.
Setting the agenda and holding those in power to account.
You can't really blame her if the system is set up this way. You will not want to miss it, trust me.
The Camilla Tominey Show, Sundays from 9:30, only on GB News. Here at GB News, we made a promise to tell your stories.
And on the 6th of August, we're marking 5 years of doing exactly that.
Celebrate with us by having your say. Join in the debates live on TV and radio.
And tune in as your favourite presenters are live across the country, from Leeds to Aberdeen, from Belfast to Barry Island.
Plus, join me in Essex for our biggest live show of the year. Tune in tomorrow, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Breakfast. It's 28 minutes past 7. Now, it'll be interesting to know your view on this one, because the historian David Olusoga has said he was urged to reject his OBE because he's black, but insists accepting it was a way of honouring the country that he calls home.
Well, the broadcaster said privileged white middle class people underestimated what receiving a national honour means to someone who came to Britain as an immigrant.
Well, his comments have reignited the debate about the honour system, identity and what it means to be British.
So this morning we're asking, is accepting an OBE condoning colonialism?
Well, joining us for this morning's debate, activist and political commentator Aman Aiton and Hamish Brown, OBE, retired Scotland Yard Detective Inspector. Hamish, let's start with you. You've got an OBE. Do you think accepting an OBE condones colonialism?
Well, first of all, it's an MBE, but thank you very much anyway. And I just remember that letter arriving and the thrill of being nominated for an honour. And a few weeks later, it was confirmed that I was at Buckingham Palace with the family, and everyone was exuberant on the day, irrespective of their class, creed, or ethnic background. It had absolutely nothing to do with it, and it was absolutely fantastic. It is ingrained in society, the MBEs, the OBEs, the CBEs, and we should be proud if you're nominated. And you know, a lot of people were so pleased for me, and I was actually speaking to someone from Australia recently, and he was talking very highly of the system. So I'm saddened to hear this tarnished approach. I don't think it's appropriate. I think it's a sorry state of affairs. And the honour system really brings to light a lot of goodness in the country. Put me aside, but the lollipop ladies and people who have worked so hard. So please keep it going and respect it.
All right, Iman, good morning to you as well. You take it away from there.
Good morning. Hi, Hamish. I think what you said was quite lovely. It was quite heartfelt, and I understand what you mean in terms of the pride that you get as a result of having said award. I do think that you are, with all due respect, condoning the British Empire, because if you accept an award with the title The British Empire in it, I think it's safe to say you're accepting an honour bestowed on you by the what? British Empire. So that's the irony of it. It's quite clear that we're talking about the British Empire because of the title. And what I find quite disconcerting and absurd, in truth, is two things. Firstly, if you claim to be anti-racist, I would argue it's nonsensical and contradictory and hypocritical to therefore accept an award from the empire that literally created the racialized system that led to racism towards black people that many black people are having to contend with 200 years later. An example being the rise in racism in the NHS as of late. And I also find it absurd and disconcerting if you are, I don't know if you are, sir, but if you are an individual who advocates for equality, right? If you advocate for equality whilst simultaneously bemoaning about how unfair class hierarchy is, as an example being white working class boys being left behind, while simultaneously celebrating and, I don't know, just being elated at the fact that you've been given an award from the very system that created such structures. Again, I would say it's nonsensical, contradictory, and dare I say, moronic. So I do find it quite problematic, purely because of the title. And I will just add a caveat. I'll go straight to the solution. I would much prefer, and especially because I heard what you said, Hamish, I would much prefer the title be Order of British Excellence. And apparently that was a petition from many that have received your award, or one of your awards. That would be far more befitting of what it is that we're trying to achieve in terms of what it says on the tin. And I think it's far more palatable. Right, because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about excellence. You spoke about the lollipop ladies and the doctors and the people that have created charities that have done such great things in Britain. Well, surely the Order of the British Excellence would be far better than the Order of the British Empire, surely.
Let's pass that idea back over to Hamish.
Well, for what I've read, I understand His Majesty the King it was open to that, and maybe that's the way forward. But I think we're losing the whole picture here, the magnitude and the wonderful award it is. And I feel that we're taking the eye off the ball. It is ingrained in society. It is an MBE or OBE or whatever, and we should be proud of that. And the Empire did some bad things. The Empire did some very good things as well. But let's not take away this wonderful award and lose ourselves in a distant history, and that's what we're talking about.
Okay, Iman, a final very brief word to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ellie. I don't negate what you're saying, Hamish. I think people will naturally be proud because I think it's safe to say there have been many black people that have accepted that award, and I would argue that validation, social status and the benefits that come with it, in my humble opinion, typically usurp intellect and integrity, and that's just human nature, right? It's something that we've seen in the cotton fields 500 years ago and the sugar plantations 500 years ago, and we still see it to this day. So I would argue that whilst I appreciate the pride that you get from said award, it seems to be clouding your judgment in terms of intellect and understanding that the British Empire literally used physical, psychological and sexual violence as a means to ensure its success. And by virtue of the fact that you've accepted this award with the title The British Empire means that you are condoning it. Let's just be honest with ourselves here.
All right, you two, we've got to leave it there because we're out of time, but thank you very much for joining us for a debate this morning. It's Iman Ayton and Hamish Brown, MBE. Thank you both very much. Still to come, though.
Grieving parents of kids killed by knives have welcomed the news this morning that 15,000 blades have been taken off the street in the past year alone. That's some positive news, isn't it, to share this morning? We're going to go through that and much more in the papers with Norman Baker and Suzanne Evans. That's up next.
Thank you, Britain, for the thousands of you who are becoming friends of GB News each and every week.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The M25 clockwise is blocked by a collision at junction 23 in South Mimms. The M1 northbound is closed between junctions 12 and 13 in Daventry due to a collision, with delays southbound between junctions 17 and 16. North of the border, the A78 is closed both directions between Dunlop Street and Ratho Street for planned roadworks. Across Wales, the A40 from CFN Brinick to Bwlch is affected by a collision. And on the trains, Cross Country and Great Western Railway services have reduced service between Newport and Cardiff Central. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Here at GB News, we made a promise to tell your stories.
And on the 6th of August, we're marking 5 years of doing exactly that.
Celebrate with us by having your say. Join in the debates live on TV and radio.
And tune in as your favourite presenters are live across the country, from Leeds to Aberdeen, from Belfast to Barry Island.
Plus, join me in Essex for our biggest live show of the year. Tune in tomorrow, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays, I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain is not just a geographical expression. We are a people bound together by history and culture that are distinctively British. Join me to celebrate our music, theatre, artworks and literature, which we can explore and enjoy together.
Everybody's welcome.
Sunday with Michael Costello. Every Sunday at 11 a.m. on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Breakfast. It's 7:38. We're going through the papers this morning in the company of Norman Baker and Suzanne Evans.
Good morning.
Morning. Norman, can we start with some very positive news this morning, which is that 40 knives a day now off our streets for good?
Yes, 15,000 blades have been taken off the streets in a year. So it's a very good news story. We've now got the lowest number of knife deaths since 1991.
30-year low.
30-year low. 30 years? Just about 30 years. 35-year low, in fact, which is a good news story. I mean, I dealt with this when I was a Home Office Minister. It tends to be concentrated in teenagers and gangs, people who get stabbed. But, I mean, there has been a concerted effort by the government and the Home Office to remove knives. These are often handed in as a sort of amnesty. That's where the knives are being removed. And I think that's a very positive outcome. Someone's on the front page of one of the parents of someone who was unfortunately stabbed, saying every knife removed is potentially a life saved, which is a very nice way of putting it, I think. What does annoy me, I have to say, is we get some people from America who say, oh, Britain's very unsafe and London's a horrible capital and everything else. It isn't. London's one of the safest capitals in any Western country. Knife crime is right down. And just one statistic on guns, if I may. The number of people killed by guns, I think last year in the UK was 24. I mean, incredibly low. In America, it's 38,000. So, you know, we are quite safe in this country, which is not to say that everybody should be complacent. And, of course, any death is a death to be regretted. But, you know, we are a safe country by and large.
I don't think we can be complacent, though. You know, there were still 176 knife killings in the past year. There are still nearly 49,000 knife offences every year. And, yes, this is a good news story, the 40 knives a day taken off our streets. But, of course, what we don't know is how many more are going back on the streets. I'm sorry to be negative about it, but we really don't. And, I mean, I can't understand, for example, why anybody'd want a zombie knife. Why are these things still being sold? Why are they still out there? It's nonsense, really. The other thing I think that I have to say, perhaps on a slightly more trite note or not, in the Mirror story, was it came back with the old call again to ban pointed knives. Even for cooking. It's like if you attack somebody with your car, it's not the car's fault, it's the person's. It's not the knife's fault, it's the person who's using it. You need a pointy knife to cook sometimes.
Indeed, that's very true. You can't just ban knives, can you?
No.
You need them.
Yeah. Suzanne, Norman, do stay where you are, and we're going to try and come back to you. But in the meantime, we're going to speak to the Liberal Democrats, because the Deputy Leader of the Liberal Democrats, Daisy Cooper, joins us now. Very good morning to you, Miss Cooper. Thank you for joining us on GB News Breakfast. Can we start by asking you about this controversial early release scheme, please, and specifically the case of the killers of PC Andrew Harper? You would have seen the comments of his devastated mother, you would have seen the comments of his devastated widow, Lissy, both saying it's an ultimate betrayal that these two killers could be allowed to walk free. We're now hearing that the chairman of the Thames Valley Police Federation is considering a possible judicial review of this decision, and there's also this petition that has gathered more than 125,000 signatures looking for the government to relook at this case. What's the Liberal Democrats' position on this? Does this case of these two killers need to be re-looked at? Do they need to serve their full sentence?
Yes, it does need to be looked at. I mean, this decision is a real insult to the loved ones and the family of Andrew Harper. And, you know, quite frankly, you know, in Parliament, we were given repeated assurances from ministers that the most serious cases, the most prolific criminals would not be allowed out early, that they would not be treated as an exception from this early release scheme. And now we end up in a situation where the government appears to have gone back on its word. So I completely understand why the family feel it's a betrayal, and we think it's a real insult. And if Parliament was sitting, we would be looking to bring forward some kind of emergency legislation to change this. And it's deeply frustrating that these decisions are being made when Parliament isn't sitting at the moment.
Indeed. And Ms Cooper, may I also bring your attention to what's happening in Oxfordshire, Piddington, where there's 300 residents there. There's set to be 1,250 migrants move in nearby. Young children, of course, have been pleading with the Prime Minister not to change their local towns. Now, it's quite a lot of people outnumbering the local villagers there that will be moved into a town that will be completely changed. Do you think that's an acceptable form of, or at least of use of this policy when it comes to scattering migrants up and down the country, or is there something to be said about challenging this?
Look, I think what's really frustrating for people up and down the country, wherever they are, is that this government hasn't acted fast enough to process these claims, and that's fundamentally what we need. We Liberal Democrats have said repeatedly that the government should be investing in more caseworkers at the Home Office to process these claims quickly, and that's the only way that this can be dealt with. So I understand that people are frustrated that the government hasn't got on top of this. Of course, I do have a degree of sympathy because, of course, this was a mess that the Labour government inherited from the Conservatives, and the Conservatives have still not ever given an answer as to why they stopped processing these claims in the first place, allowing this massive backlog to be created. But as I say, fundamentally, we do need the government to invest in processing these claims much, much faster with a kind of Nightingale-style plan to process these applications.
Ms Cooper, what do you make of Andy Burnham heading off on holiday for 2 weeks after being Prime Minister for a grand total of 2 weeks? And in that 2 weeks, he refused to take questions from the press, or a large number of the press, didn't face any parliamentary scrutiny. How does it sit with you that he's now on a 2-week holiday whilst all of this is going on?
Well, look, to be honest, I think if you want people to be running the country well, every politician does need to have a break at some point. And let's be clear, this government should not be and cannot be a one-man band. The Prime Minister does have a cabinet. There are a number of people in the cabinet who are very experienced. And I hope very much that they will be doing the job properly when the Prime Minister does have a break. But that said, I mean, it is frustrating that the Labour Party did appear to deliberately time the, not even the election, but the selection of Andy Burnham as Prime Minister to coincide with the start of the recess. That has meant that we haven't been able to ask him any questions at all about anything, whether that's the cost of living, special educational needs, the immigration system, the cost of living, any of those kind of things. It is frustrating for sure.
Indeed. Let's move on to, because you want to talk about growth, and I would love to get to that in just a moment, if you don't mind, Ms Cooper. But borrowing, we're hearing today, the government are planning to borrow billions more pounds to incentivise growth. And, well, if you ask me, mathematically, that doesn't make sense. Borrowing, we always have to pay that back. But this is what their plan seems to be. What do you make of that as an economic model?
Well, look, to start with, I haven't seen the details of this again because Parliament isn't sitting, so we will scrutinise it when we can see what the government is proposing in black and white. But as a kind of from a principles point of view, we are a country that has failed to invest properly over the years. In the G7, we have been the bottom country for investing in 24 of the last 30 years. And people can see that in their everyday lives with infrastructure, trains that don't work, water pipes that are burst, and digital connectivity just simply not existing in lots of rural areas. So we have got to invest in infrastructure. We Lib Dems did support a change in the Labour government's first budget that allowed for productive investment. So borrowing that then improves growth is not a bad thing, and we supported that in principle. But my frustration is that the government might want to continue to borrow and borrow and borrow, but at some point the government has got to grow the economy, and we haven't seen any plan at all from Andy Burnham or his cabinet to grow the economy, and that's what we Liberal Democrats want to see, and we think waiting to the budget will be far too late.
Well, indeed, I might just suggest as well, because when we look at the state of HS2, we talk about investing into projects like that, which everyone would welcome, of course, but they end up becoming so much more bloated and costly because we can't build things anymore because regulation, there's too much red tape around everything. So actually just borrowing a small amount of money ends up just becoming a big black hole that the taxpayer has to fill, doesn't it?
Well, where I would agree with you is that HS2 was an appalling... I was supportive of HS2 and I hope the project can be completed, but it was a real kind of example of how we get things wrong in this country. We spend enormous amounts of money and don't get very much for it. So it doesn't mean we shouldn't invest in infrastructure. We've just got to make sure that we look at the money properly. I think when it comes to the project of HS2, it wasn't so much the red tape, it was more the fact that politicians kept flip-flopping. They kept starting it and stopping it and starting it and stopping it. There were all sorts of contractors that had to get rehired time and time and time again. And actually, there weren't really any private investors involved. And when you do have proper partnerships between government and the private sector, it's often the private sector that points to the bottom line and says, look, you can't keep doing this. You've got to keep this project on track. So we do have a problem in this country with investing, but the answer to it is not to stop investing. The answer is to make sure we invest and get real bang for our buck out of public money.
Daisy Cooper, thank you very much for joining us this morning on GB News Breakfast. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
OK, let's get a check on the European forecast.
Can't wait to get in that sea. Lovely and warm. Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
Thunderstorms for some parts of Germany, Austria into the Czech Republic, fine elsewhere, and the heat continues to build on Thursday across Central and Eastern Europe. Mostly average temperatures or near average for Greece, but into Italy, Croatia, Slovakia, Romania, Hungary, it's exceptionally hot temperatures heading towards 40 Celsius, 1 or 2 thunderstorms, northern parts of Spain into Andorra. Otherwise, a lot of fine weather for Spain, for Portugal and for the Canaries over the next few days.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
Britain's newsroom, weekday mornings from 9:30.
Yes, the Malaysian government has announced that it will renew the search for Malaysia Airlines flight MH370, which disappeared 10 years ago without a trace.
Yes, the plane was carrying 239 people from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing. Previous attempts to locate the plane have all failed, leaving the families of those on board without any kind of closure.
Well, for more on this, let's speak to Terry Tozer, a former airline pilot and author of Confessions of an Airline Pilot, Why Planes Crash. Terry, you sound like the perfect man to talk to about this, because this is perhaps the biggest aviation mystery of our modern age.
Yeah, it is, and obviously a great tragedy as well. It's good to know that they're going to have another crack at trying to find it.
GB News, the People's Channel. This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
This is just health and safety gone mad. It's not the role of public authorities to be telling people what's for their best interest. And the reality is it's probably better to take the chance of a tree branch falling on you than going out in the sun and getting getting burnt in the sun. But the reality is the reason why these councils are saying you've got to stay out of underneath the trees is they don't want anybody to get struck by a branch which they have a liability to, whilst they don't have a liability for anybody getting sunburnt. So it's all to do with public liability. I mean, if you look at East Cheshire Council, for example, in 2024, they had to pay out £500,000 because a branch fell on somebody.
GB News, the People's Channel. This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
In my hand, I have a colander. I have a piece of paper. Yes, there you have one too. So I'm going to run it so you can see me. So I think what you do is you shine, you indicate, you tell me what to do, and I'll do it for you.
You never look at the sun directly.
Yep,
you allow the light to go through the colander, and that'll actually act as a pinhole camera and project images of the sun onto the piece of paper, and then you can look at the piece of paper and see the eclipse take place. Simple as that. You can do it also by using binoculars or a telescope and projecting an image from them onto a piece of paper. Yep. That will work just as well. Or get a bucket of water, let it settle, and look in the bucket of water, and you'll see the image of the sun in the water, and then you can observe the eclipse that way.
GB News, the People's Channel.
All right, lots more to come, including our interview with Opposition Assistant Whip Katie Lambert. Let's get into the papers, shall we? Right, where should we start?
OK, Norman and Suzanne are back with us. Suzanne, let's look at something quite fun, shall we? The front page of the Times. The French admitting the British do it better.
Yeah, nobody does it better than MI6, apparently. This is according to L'Express. I hope I pronounced that right. That's the French news magazine, which interviewed 60 spooks, I suppose, from 25 countries across Europe and asked them, excluding your own country, whose spooks do you think are the best? And Britain came up top, apparently. The former head of France's General Directorate for External Security said, and I quote, "The British have the ability to play the long game, somewhat like the Russians, and they have a taste for dirty tricks." Which I have to say cheered me up no end. Because you don't want your security services to be squeaky clean and whiter than white, do you really? So that was quite good. So we came top, France came second, the Netherlands came third, and Ukraine came fourth. But I have to say, we did absolutely hammer the French on this occasion. I think we got 251 points, they only got 169. So we beat the French hollow, which is another good news story.
Fantastic.
I feel very proud.
You can turn the nose up at that, Norman.
Absolutely. Well, we do have very good security services in this country. I know that from my time at the Home Office, and they do actually perform and punch above their weight. And it's one of the selling points of Britain these days.
Oh, very good. Moment of harmony there.
Absolutely. And while we're with you, incredibly red chocolate box for coronation could fetch £1,000.
This is from 1902 and the coronation of Edward VII. And it's actually got chocolate inside it. It's one of those things which, if you buy, it's worth a lot of money because chocolate's there. But as soon as you eat the chocolate, the value goes down massively.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't want to eat the chocolate.
Would you eat chocolate from 1907?
Surprisingly, it probably lasts. I mean, if you look at some of the army rations they get, they got chocolate from decades ago. It's perfectly all right. So it's probably OK. But it's like these bottles of whiskey you can buy from 200 years ago. Once you open it, or bottles of wine, then you ruin what's there in terms of the value. But I mean, one of the great things about this is a silver box. It's rather nice, handed down from one of the Roundtree family themselves to their coachman, apparently, that's come down that way. But isn't it sad that these chocolates, Roundtree of York, are no longer there? Cadbury's are no longer British. We've lost all our chocolate manufacturers.
So true.
I think you can tell as well. I don't think Cadbury's is the same as it used to be.
It's not. It's all full of sugar and less cocoa.
Yeah.
It's really sad.
I still like that famous bar, though, in the purple, much like Norman's soup this morning. Still one of my favourite chocolate bars.
Charlotte in the chocolate factory style today. It's very topical with the chocolate. We love to see it. No, it's very bright. We love it.
Suzanne, let's look at something totally different, shall we? This is a bit odd, isn't it? This is in the Eye today. A pensioner admits to killing his neighbour's fish.
Yeah, now I want to say from the outset here, I'm not anti-koi carp and I'm not pro-vandalism, but I actually have quite a lot of sympathy with this guy. He's a pensioner, he's 76, lives in North London, and he admitted using motor oil and detergent to kill his neighbour's koi carp out of sheer frustration and lack of sleep. Apparently, he was driven completely insane by the sound of a water pump running in his neighbour's fish pond. Now, noise nuisance is horrendous. You know, someone who's suffered it. There's a reason they use noise as a torture technique. There's a reason they play awful sounds when they want to get somebody out of a siege situation. And I quite understand this poor man being completely driven mad. And I have to say, his neighbour was not very nice about it. He raised the issue and basically said, well, shut your window or move. So I do have a lot of sympathy for this man. Jerry Duffy, his name was, for North London. So my commiserations. He got a 2-year suspended, not suspended sentence, just a caution, really.
Well, thank you, you two. We'll hopefully have a longer paper review. In the next hour, we'll get interrupted by more politicians, but coming up next, we will be talking to another politician, Katie Lamb, so stay with us.
Yeah, in the meantime, let's get a check on the weather.
Thank you, Britain, for making GB News Radio such a huge success. Whether you're in the car, on the go, or listening at home, thank you for choosing us as your radio station.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The M1 is closed between junctions 16 and 18 near Daventry following a collision between junctions 14 and 15. The A43 is also closed after the M1. There is a collision on the M25 clockwise at junction 23 near South Mimms. In Scotland, the A78 is closed both directions between Dunlop Street and Ratho Street due to planned roadworks. Across Wales, the A40 from CFN Brynwich to Boolch is affected by a collision. And on the trains, cross-country and Great Western Railway services have reduced service between Newport and Cardiff Central. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
We're celebrating a golden summer with your chance to win a real gold bar. That's right, a fine gold bullion bar worth over £5,000 could be yours. We're also going to make sure your finances are fabulous with £60,000 in tax-free cash. For a chance to win, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pulled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
At the stroke of midnight, the news doesn't stop, and neither do we.
Day in, day out. Forget stuffy late night TV shows. We're giving you a front row ticket to the centre of the political universe.
Because breaking news doesn't wait for the morning.
And neither do we. Join us for one of the most controversial and volatile times of politics in human history.
A very big story.
Big story over here.
You won't get this anywhere else. The Late Show live at midnight, every night.
Only on GB News.
Bold. They are under no illusion. Ray, are you a human trafficker? Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get this on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines. The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it? From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos. I'm going to do now, they are throwing things out the car as we speak. Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good morning. A top police chief threatens to take the Prime Minister, Andy Burnham, to court in an effort to stop PC Andrew Harper's killers walking free early.
Well, the Prime Minister's decision to include criminals guilty of manslaughter in the early prison release scheme is labelled an insult to PC Harper's loved ones.
Well, earlier Deputy Lib Dem leader Daisy Cooper shared her frustration.
Quite frankly, in Parliament we were given repeated assurances from ministers that the most serious cases, the most prolific criminals would not be allowed out.
And that's as it's revealed that the scheme will also see more than 9,000 domestic abusers freed within the next 3 years. Is this becoming the first major crisis of Andy Burnham's government? And while the backlash mounts, the Prime Minister's also on a 2-week holiday.
Residents in Piddington appealed to the government in a last-ditch effort to halt plans to house 1,250 migrants in the tiny Oxfordshire village with a population of just 300 people, with local children sending this heartfelt message to Andy Burnham.
To Andy Burnham, I like my village exactly how it is and I don't want it to be changed. Dear Prime Minister, I love a park in Piddington.
It's worth saying that our reporter Jack Carson will be having an interview with one of those concerned families very shortly.
Earlier on in the programme, we were joined by Reform UK chairman Lee Anderson, who is in Calais after that shocking rescue of 170 migrants on a mega dinghy that caught fire.
New clothes, bust into town, pocket money. I mean, why wouldn't they come? We're a soft touch. It's as simple as that. We are a soft touch.
Almost 15,000 knives and weapons have been taken off the streets over the last year thanks to the government's surrender bins. We're speaking to one grandmother who lost her grandson to knife crime to get her thoughts on it.
A SpaceX rocket is on course to crash into the moon this morning, on purpose, we should say. We're going to be bringing you breaking footage of that when it happens. It's going to be awesome, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely sensational.
I'm glad you said on purpose, because I've been wondering about that all morning. FIFA President Gianni Infantino, maybe he should be on there, will attempt to cling on to power as he holds a crisis meeting in Morocco. That happens this afternoon. Huge Battle of Britain fight between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury could be held in New York. Riders in the Women's Tour de France will be checked for a bizarre cheating. Well, it's kind of like a way of cheating that makes them more aerodynamic. We'll discuss it a bit later.
Depending on where you are in the United Kingdom, it's either another wet day or another dry day. Another day of contrasts either way. I'll have the full details in the forecast coming up soon.
Good morning, it's just gone 8 o'clock. I'm Ellie Costello.
And I'm Alex Armstrong, and this is GB News Breakfast.
let's get straight into the politics this morning, shall we? Because our top story is a senior police chief has threatened legal action against the Prime Minister, Andy Burnham, in an effort to prevent the killers of PC Andrew Harper from walking free under the controversial early release scheme.
Well, the family of the murdered police officer have expressed outrage at the Prime Minister's decision to allow offenders convicted of manslaughter to be released early. They've branded the move an utter betrayal.
Well, adding fuel to the fire, the Daily Mail reporting this morning that 9,000 domestic abusers could be back on Britain's streets by 2029 under Labour's scheme.
And joining us now is Katie Lamb, the Opposition Assistant Whip. Good morning, Katie Lamb. Thank you very much for joining us today. Let's get your reaction, first of all, to this latest on the early release scheme. As you can imagine, we did speak to the Prisons Minister the other day, who spoke to the mother of PC Harper, who was, of course, absolutely tragically murdered indeed by some, that might be released under this scheme. It's been branded an utter betrayal. What do you make of it all?
I think it is completely disgusting. I mean, I won't go into the detail of what happened to PC Harper on air, but your listeners and viewers can have a look for themselves. I mean, the way that he died was unspeakably awful, and what happened to his body as well. And the idea that the people who killed him, who seem to have expressed no remorse for having done so, could be back on our streets, I think is unspeakable.
Does this case need to be re-looked at, Katie Lamb? Do these killers need to be excluded from this early release scheme?
I don't think that any killers should be included in the early release scheme. You mentioned also then domestic abusers. There are some child sex abusers who haven't been excluded. These people should not be on our streets. They are dangerous. They are dangerous to the public. They have done appalling things. They should be in prison.
But, Ms Lamb, the government's going to say this is your fault, not you personally, but your party's fault. You didn't build enough prisons, not enough prison officers. You brought in millions more people to the country and didn't think that building more prisons would be a suitable idea for it. Has the Conservative Party got some blame to take here? There were not enough
Prison places built for actually a sustained period of time, and yes, some of those decisions were made by Conservative ministers. But this government has been in power now for 2 years. Where is their prison building programme? I mean, if that's what they really think, what prisons are they going to build and where? Not a single prison has been planned or approved. So if that is such an emergency, what have they been doing for the 2 years that they've been in power? Do you think they could... Sorry to interrupt you, Ellie. Do you think they could build these prisons quicker? Is there... Because, you know, Ellie actually was putting this, I think, to the Minister yesterday, that we could build Nightingale hospitals at record speed. Why can't we build prisons at record speed? You could build them both faster and much more cheaply. Other countries do. The Australians in particular are very good at building prison places. They build them for something like half of what we pay for them. There are all sorts of ways that you could do this faster, better and spending less money.
Can I talk to you about the situation in Piddington? You may have seen GB News' coverage today. We're doing a special day of coverage with our reporter Jack Carson, who's going to be there talking to residents. Patrick Christie's was talking to a very concerned family last night. This is a tiny Oxfordshire village, I think just 300 residents, isn't it? 1,250 migrants being moved into that village. Let's just listen to children who are sending this message to Andy Burnham. I'd really like to get a reaction to this.
Dear Andy Burnham, I love our village. It's so important to me. Andy, I love Piddington. I love Piddington because I like walking my dog through the village. Mr. Burnham, I love Piddington because I like cycling through the village to see my friends.
What's your reaction to that video, Katie Lamb? And do you think Andy Burnham is going to listen to the message of those children?
I think it's terribly sad what they're suggesting and proposing doing to this village. It will quintuple in size by adding, as you say, 1,250 migrants. There are 300 people who live in this village. And we know, unfortunately, that it is a danger to the public, particularly to women and to children, to bring in very large numbers of migrant, usually, but not exclusively, but the vast majority men, to live amongst British people on their streets and in their home. And I think I think if I lived in Piddington, I think I would be very worried indeed if I were a parent of one of those children in Piddington, especially. I think it's unspeakably sad and totally inappropriate. I don't know what the government is thinking.
Ms Lamb, let me ask you this. Your party leader and your Shadow Home Secretary were out in police uniform the other day, I believe.
Kemi the copper.
That's right, Copper Kemi. We've got it on the front page of the Telegraph here, actually. She looks pretty tough.
She does.
Let's talk about your plan to cut...
Tough.
Yes. Let's talk about your plan to slash police bureaucracy, shall we?
There is an unbelievable amount of bureaucracy in the police. So we have... so many brilliant, brave, hardworking police officers, and they are forced to waste so much of their time on paperwork, on doing things like redactions. You know, if they are going to send documents to the CPS, to the Crown Prosecution Service, there's a huge amount of information that they need to redact, even though the CPS is another organ of government, is another unit of the state. You know, there is no reason that they shouldn't be able to have the same information as the police. And it is remarkable how much time they spend doing this when 9 out of 10 crimes in this country go unsolved. I mean, that is what our police officers should be spending their time on.
OK, Katie Lamb, thank you very much for joining us this morning on GB News Breakfast.
Thank you, Ms Lamb. Sharon here on You Also says, I'm going to repeat this again. El Salvador built the world's highest security prison in 9 months. And she's absolutely right. It can be done, and it contained some of the most violent criminals in the world. All this nonsense that we can't do this, it's purely political will. Again, it's red tape, it's regulation if we want to do this. El Salvador, by the way, has completely changed its country as a result. Its crime rate is down something like 98%.
And they're not misbehaving in these prisons either. They're run like a tight ship, aren't they?
They are run like a tight ship.
Maybe we should take a leaf out of their book. Anyway, let us know what you think. gbnews.com/you'll say.
The Justice Secretary, Alex Norris, gave the following statement. The Prime Minister and I have reviewed these reforms, listened to the concerns and gone further to protect victims. Victims will also have access to better support and reassurance that offenders leaving prison face tougher supervision and punishment.
Well, talking about Piddington, children in the Oxfordshire village have sent letters and video messages to the Prime Minister, pleading with him to keep them safe from the 1,250 asylum seekers who are set to be housed nearby.
One child wrote this: I love living in Piddington. I love playing in the park. Another one wrote, I love living in Piddington because I can visit my sister's grave. I worry I won't be able to do that anymore.
Well, let's speak now to GB News' national reporter Jack Carson, who joins us today for a live special edition of coverage from Piddington. You are joined, Jack, this morning by one of those concerned families. Tell us more.
Yeah, absolutely. As you were rightly saying a few minutes ago, the MOD site here, which isn't a barracks, it's a storage facility, backs on essentially to this community park that the village use all year round, especially, of course, in these warm summer months. And after 2 weeks of no reply from the Prime Minister on the residents' concerns here, they've decided to take it up a step, and the children of this village have now written to the Prime Minister, Andy Burnham. Gina, Jamie, Ned, Rex and Zach all join us now. This is one of the concerned families. Thanks so much for joining us this morning, guys. I mean, Gina, if I start with you first, why have the children of this village, why have the families in this village decided to take this next step and get the children to write letters to the Prime Minister?
Yeah, well, we started as adults, started the campaign. We've written a letter to Andy Burnham, our chair has, Tim McNally, and we've heard absolutely nothing. So now, in a very age-appropriate way, we have explained to the children that we are a very small village and we love it how we are. And if we want to explain to Andy Burnham how much we love it, he might think, actually, I need to consider these people and come and actually speak to them. So that's what we've done. No pressure, age appropriate, and
some of those letters are really quite moving. I mean, yes. Ned and Rex, what is it for you? What is it that you love about this village?
That I can walk down to my sister's grave like every day.
And how important is that for you?
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for you, Rex, what is it for you that means you love this village so much?
Because I like going down to a park, a football park.
And suppose this Jamie, is part of the concern for parents, is that these are public spaces used by the children. It's a very safe village as it is now. I suppose there's a lot of trust within the village and people knowing each other. So what are your concerns then if this plan was to go ahead?
Well, as you can see, there's the boundaries there. We've got 7 or 8 elderly people walking their dogs. This is where our kids play. Not just our kids, plenty of other children. This is our space. You know, this is our space where we can enjoy life, where we can enjoy playing football, where we can enjoy walking our dogs with freedom. And you know, as I've said before, 1,000 men from any different background would make a huge difference to our life. And this would be their local park. There's nothing in there. There's an abandoned asbestos shed. This would be a lovely local park for over 1,000 men. We'd be so outnumbered. It would change our life completely. You know, you can see when the boys, all of us, everything would change. Everything would change. Like I said, 7 or 8 elderly people here. First thing on a Wednesday morning, if you had 500 men come in here, which they would do, it would change everything.
Now, the Home Office say that this will be a site which would be monitored 24/7. If those people in the camp were to leave, it would be a sign-in, sign-out process. Are you not convinced by the Home Office's plans to try and ensure security for the people still in this village if they were to use that site?
No, quite simply because how are they going to? How can you guarantee the safety of 1,250 people? Are they going to follow each individual? No, they're not. Of course, they're not. If it's a sign in, sign out, once they're signed out, that's it. That's then the responsibility of us as a local village, as a local community. We have to then take the burden for that. As soon as they leave that site, it will then be on us.
And Jean,
not worth the risk on our children's future. They get one childhood, and I think they're gambling with their childhoods. With that, there's no vetting process. They can't verify who these people are, and that is our concern. So,
do you think the Prime Minister will come back to you after this next step?
As a father, I would like to think that the man has the decency to come back to us. He would have seen it. Let's face facts. It's been all over the news. Everyone knows about it. He can't shy away from it. He's a father. He would know exactly what the problem is here, and he's refusing to come back to us. So as a decent human being, which maybe he is,
to a father, please listen to us and our voices.
Come and see it with your own eyes. You know, when was the last time you saw a community that quadrupled in size overnight?
Without any consideration or. Yeah, it's just.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so to Ned, Zach, and Rex for joining us this morning here. As I said, we are going to be here in Piddington throughout the day, listening to residents and more of their concerns, of course, as they take this next step of children of this village sending letters to the Prime Minister.
Jack Carson, thank you so much for being there with that family as well. You know, this is really. How many more times are we going to see this happen and be replicated up and down the country is what springs to mind immediately. This is not the first time we've seen families plea with the government to not do this. Crowborough and other places that I've been to in Essex, Braintree, and many more up and down the country too. So thanks for being there, Jack.
Yeah, thank you, Jack. Will the government listen? Well, a Home Office spokesperson has said the concerns of the communities are central to immigration reforms and that it is working with local authorities to fairly disperse asylum seekers across ex-military sites.
Well, the Piddington Parish Council has been contacted for comments. We'll bring that to you when we get it.
Now let's get a check on your weather with Aidan McGibbon.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello, very good morning to you. Welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. It's going to feel fresher for all of us today. Showers for many, especially towards the north and west. Thunderstorms for some, impactful thunderstorms with hail, lightning and torrential rain. Now, we've already seen some showers to start the day towards the north. We'll see showers pop up also across parts of Wales, western and northern England. Longer spells of rain for Northern Ireland, western Scotland, but the biggest storms are likely to develop through the afternoon for northeast Scotland with hail, thunder, 50 millimetres of rain accumulating in several hours. Dry, though, yet again through the Midlands, East Anglia and the South East, although with a fresher feel. Temperatures back towards average, mid-20s with lower humidities. However, for much of Scotland. It's going to feel actually quite miserable in places. A lot of rain there through the north and west of Scotland, 13 Celsius, a strong breeze. Some brighter spells towards the east, but only in between these lively thunderstorms. A little drier to end the day for Northern Ireland, but for much of northern and western England as well as Wales, we've got these scattered showers. They'll be hit and miss. Some places will avoid them. Others will get a bit of a soaking, but they avoid, once again, East Midlands, East Anglia and the southeast, staying dry as we end the day and go into the start of Thursday. Clear spells overnight. A bit more comfortable for sleeping, however, with those lower humidities, a fresh breeze coming from the northwest. Temperatures in the low teens rather than the high teens that we've seen during the last few nights. We start the day on Thursday with, again, significant contrasts across the UK. Dry, bright and warm in the south, but cloudy and cool with a strong breeze into the north and northeast. Showery rain coming south, breaking up through the day to give some drier and brighter weather. Certainly an improving picture for northern parts with some sunshine coming through. Staying dry once again in the south, however, with highs of 24 or 25 Celsius, much cooler towards the north.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
All right, still to come. Do you like space?
I do like space.
Yeah.
You like space.
I love it. I love it.
You really like space.
Because this amazing thing is going to happen. It's something like 5,200 miles per hour. A SpaceX rocket is going to crash into the moon. It's going to create a 16-foot deep crater. That's how impactful this is. You won't be able to see it with your eyes, but we're waiting to get those historic images, which are the first of its kind ever, imminently. So stay tuned for that, because it really will be something to behold.
They're going to be incredible images, and scientists are so excited about it because they'll be able to find out so much about the surface of the moon by watching this crash live. Usually, when you see meteors go into the moon, they don't know it's happening.
Exactly.
So they're not able to watch it live, whereas this one, they are ready for impact. So the second we get those pictures, we'll bring them to you.
We certainly will. But first, the number of deaths linked to knife crime has fallen dramatically. We're going to be speaking to a grandmother who's dedicated her life to making Britain's streets safer. That's next.
Breaking news, live updates, stories that matter.
From the heart of the GB newsroom to every corner of Britain, with our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
GB News bulletins are there to deliver the latest news that matters to you. Bulletins on GB News,
The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience, because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
Because
the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back, And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more. and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Dawdley, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Do you trust what you're being told? Good, because neither do I.
Those are just facts.
I'm Alex Armstrong, and on my show, we'll expose the spin.
Well, I want to answer that because you didn't let me last time, because you always speak over me.
The broken promises.
To deny that is denying the truth.
And the hypocrisy.
We can allow. You think we can allow?
Politics, policy, parliament. Nothing is off limits. No sugarcoating, no fear of offence, just the truth laid bare. Tune in every Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. for Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
I've been in Westminster for a long time, but I know that though power may be here, its effect on people's lives is across the whole of the country. We may be where rules are made, but it's where they're implemented that matters. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for forthright and frank discussion on where Britain has come from, where it's going, and where it will end up. That's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Vox Populi, Vox Dei.
Here at GB News, we made a promise to tell your stories. And on the 6th of August, we're marking 5 years of doing exactly that.
Celebrate with us by having your say. Join in the debates live on TV and radio.
And tune in as your favourite presenters are live across the country, from Leeds to Aberdeen, from Belfast to Barry Island.
Plus, join me in Essex for our biggest live show of the year. Tune in tomorrow, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to breakfast. It's 8:23. It's sports time. Paul Coyte's here with us.
Right, I've got lots to go through, so I'm going to be really quick with each one. I'm going to keep.
We'll strap in.
We'll talk about Gianni Infantino first. We know about Gianni Infantino, who is he's like the godfather, isn't he, of FIFA. Now he summoned leaders then of FIFA to a meeting in Morocco, I should say today. The story is that, he plans to sell off FIFA's commercial and event operations, and it's all a way of making money. And the thing is, this guy seems to have pushed the envelope further and further and further, and it's come back to bite him on the backside. So the thing is he going to last as president of FIFA? And I think everybody, it's like we were saying earlier, it's a game of politics now. And we've got people that are around, there's people that are close to him thinking, now, do I stick with him? Because he looks like he may be on his way out. If I do, then that'll be the end of me. So there's just a lot of politicking going on around FIFA, and we just wonder whether this man is actually going to last through this. I can't see how he can, but he's clinging on. So now what's going to happen? What do you think will be happening in the meeting today?
What powers do the individual countries or
they all have a vote.
Groups have to vote?
Do
the FA get a vote?
That's right, yeah. But everybody, all the different foundations, all the different associations, they all get their vote. But the thing is, can they go against him? And then he'll go, well, if you stay with me, this is what I can promise you, a luxury holiday. You can do this. Who knows what's going to go on?
It's a great FIFA giveaway.
Who knows? Gold bars. Gold bars across the board. Who knows how this is going to go, but people are turning. And it hasn't gone down well. He's gone against that original idea, but it looks like it's just a matter of time until he goes, and I think that'll be the best thing. Quick word about Mo Salah. Now, Mo Salah, we know, Liverpool legend, Egypt legend. It seemed that he'd left Liverpool by choice and probably would go to Saudi, but this is a bizarre one for me. He's going to Trabzonspor of Turkey, and it seems that that's...
Turkey.
He's going to go
I'm never saying that.
of Turkey. And so it looks like he's going to be going there, which I really, as a free agent, it's a bizarre one for him to go to.
Money?
Well, you'd think you'd go to Saudi Arabia if you're going to get the really big money.
You would.
You're not going to Turkey there to enhance with respect to Turkey, to enhance his footballing or the future of football. It's a bizarre one, but maybe they're the only ones that probably come in for him. I don't know. But anyway, that's where he looks
Saudi would go in for him, surely.
You would have thought so. He's 34, so maybe thinking...
Yeah, but Ronaldo, 40?
I know. Well, there you go. Yeah, playing in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Anyway, it's a bit of a strange one. Quick word on Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury, which looks like it's going to happen in November, but it's the Battle of Britain.
Do we have a date?
No, not yet. Not a definite date, but it looks like November. But the thing is, this is New York. It's going to be held in New York, for crying out loud. Now, one thing, if they're being held in Saudi, you can understand that because that's where all the big money is, but... to go to New York, I really do not understand. I don't understand. The Americans would be really into it because it's two British fighters. They know who they are, but it's like, are they really bothered? This should be held at Wembley Stadium. Yeah. This should be held in this country.
Is it just money going? Is it just money changing hands?
It's the same as everything. It's always about money. Quick one on Jack Draper. Should we have a look at Jack?
I feel sorry for him.
I know. I feel bad showing this, but let's have a look anyway. Jack Draper, come back from... his injury, didn't play at Wimbledon, Canadian Open in Montreal. Let's have a little look, shall we? Hopefully we can see Jack Draper. Lost to Frenchman, Terence Atman, 6-3, 2-6 6-2. He was 4-1 down in the third set, overcome with emotion, and then he was in tears. He was in tears.
Don't blame him.
Sitting there.
I don't blame him. It was. I mean, you never want to see that, do you? You never want to see a sportsman cry. But actually, you can tell it's that overwhelming feeling of, is this it for me?
Yeah.
You know, and doing something he loves, and they're so young as well.
Exactly.
So young.
It's not good. This is the game. So we can see there, and we can see now if we can head towards Jack Draper. I feel the camera's zooming in on. There's nowhere to hide, is there? No. There really isn't. And it looks like he's just exhausted. But yeah, he was really upset.
Bless him. You're very exposed, aren't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Finally, let's do this Tour de France thing.
Oh yeah.
Stage 4 of the Tour de France Femme, which is the
female Tour de France.
Very good. And it's led by Switzerland.
Well, you're on a roll today, Ellie.
Oh, I know. Is there nothing I don't know?
I didn't know you were fluent. I didn't know. Marlon Rousser, who is from... Switzerland. Did you not recognise the Swiss accent I was giving you there?
It wasn't that different from your French accent.
Right as well. It's the French side of Switzerland. Riders are subject to extra clothing checks because there are claims that some riders now are wearing padded bras to seek an aerodynamic advantage. Now, I'm not going to go into the ins and outs of this for obvious reasons, but I can't really understand...
I don't get that.
...how that helps. Apparently, it smooths the airflow around the body, so now the actual official announcers, particular attention, will be paid to the compliance with Article 1.3.032 of the UCI regulations, including non-essential elements of clothing worn by a rider. So they are now going to check whether the bras are actually allowed to be worn or not, as the case may be.
Who's going to check?
I don't know.
How's that going to be enforceable?
I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
And I really don't want to.
No.
Prod.
No, that's the wrong word.
That would be the wrong word.
The wrong... but anyway, it is going to be checked before the race continues.
Oh, I don't know how I feel about that one.
No.
What do you think?
I'm not commenting on any of this. This
I
feels
just
like
don't
a
know
trap.
how it's going to be enforceable. What, you're going to be checking every single woman's bra?
Could be.
For padding.
Exactly.
I would have thought you'd have to.
Yeah. It's the same. It's almost like when they had the men's underpants being checked for the men's version of the Tour de France.
Oh, they did
It's a
that,
similar
didn't they?
sort of situation, but it's all in the aerodynamism.
Okay. Anyway.
I'd like to leave this right now.
Yeah.
I wish I was still on.
Are you pleased that you're back?
I'm very pleased that I'm back. I may not be back tomorrow after that, but I'm hoping to.
But talking of sort of aerodynamic things, although there's no air in space, we are waiting for those images of that sensational...
Going into the moon?
Rocket smashing into the moon.
Why though?
Well, why not?
Well, they're going to be amazing.
Why not?
They're going to be amazing pictures.
We've got to spend our money somehow, haven't we?
Absolutely.
At least taxpayers aren't paying for it for once.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, that's the sort of thing we do in this country, really, just for fun.
Yeah.
You know?
I want to see
anyway,
to the moon.
No, we've got to go. We've got to go, apparently, because we've got something else to give away, haven't we?
We do. The Great British Giveaway. £60,000 in tax-free cash and a real gold bar worth over £5,000. Here are all of the details that you need.
One person is guaranteed to win over £65,000 worth of gold and cash. And that person could be you.
You could be our latest Great British Giveaway winner and join our exclusive list of giveaway champions.
First of all, we want to give you a ton of tax-free cash.
£60,000 in tax-free cash that you could use however you like. Treat your family, treat your friends,
or treat yourself to a luxury 5-star holiday somewhere like here, all as Santi by Domes Resorts.
Plus, you'll also receive a fine gold bar worth over £5,000.
Don't miss your chance to win over £65,000 worth of prizes.
For a chance to win, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pooled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Yes, good luck.
Right, stay tuned, because we have some very rare good news next. Knife crime is at a 30-year low, and we're going to speak to someone who has been personally impacted by the knife crime epidemic that's been capturing this country for a long time, and they've been campaigning tirelessly to change that. So they're going to join us next to give their thoughts on that story.
Yeah, do stay tuned for that. But first, if you are heading to work this morning, here is your traffic and travel update.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The M1 is closed between junctions 16 and 18 near Daventry due to a collision, causing delays between junctions 14 and 16. The A43 is closed at junction 15A near Northampton because of spillage. There is an incident on the M11 southbound at junction 14 in Girton. In Scotland, the M77 northbound between junctions 3 and 4 has 2 lanes restricted with congestion. Across Wales, the A40 from CFN Brynwich to Bourke is affected by a collision. And on the trains, cross-country and Great Western Railway services have reduced service between Newport and Cardiff Central. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain is not just a geographical expression. We are a people bound together by history and culture that are distinctively British. Join me to celebrate our music, theatre, artworks and literature, which we can explore and enjoy together.
Everybody's welcome.
Sunday with Michael Costello. Every Sunday at 11 a.m. on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave. I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome to Free Speech Nation with me, Josh Howard. This is the show where each week we see what's happening in the world of culture, current affairs and politics.
First we'll say, welcome to the UK. Oh, thank you.
And we're not afraid to use our free speech so that you can use yours.
It's not controversial in the slightest to anyone who hasn't lost their mind.
Free Speech Nation, Sunday nights at 7 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
As soon as it hits 11 and the headlines come in,
The Late Edition brings you the breaking news from all the front pages.
because the news is going to happen.
So get a head start today.
Patrick Christie's tonight, Late Edition.
Alex Armstrong tonight, Late Edition. From 11 o'clock every night.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Here at GB News, we made a promise to tell your stories. And on the 6th of August, we're marking 5 years of doing exactly that.
Celebrate with us by having your say. Join in the debates live on TV and radio.
And tune in as your favourite presenters are live across the country, from Leeds to Aberdeen, from Belfast to Barry Island.
Plus, join me in Essex for our biggest live show of the year. Tune in tomorrow, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
To all of you who voted for GB News to win at the Trick Awards for the 4th year in a row.
The winner is GB News.
Thank you so much for voting for us. It's because of you that we're so proud to be the People's Channel, and it's because of you that we are Britain's news channel.
It's voted for the people who watch us.
Well, we've got the best viewers in the world, haven't we? The most loyal viewers.
Thank you.
Welcome back to Breakfast. It's 8:37. Now, did you know that knife crime deaths have fallen to a 30-year low, which is really positive news, isn't it? Well, almost 15,000 knives and weapons have been surrendered through government-backed amnesty bins since last July.
Yep, some good news. And one person who knows a lot about this issue is Julie Taylor, who lost her grandson, Liam Taylor, in a knife attack that devastated her family, of course. She's since dedicated her life to making Britain's streets safer for everyone. Julie, good morning, and thank you so much for joining us today. And it's actually good for you to be joining us once to have some positive news. We're moving in the right direction, Julie, aren't we? And why is that? Why are we finally moving in some positive direction?
Because I think people are starting to work together now. They realise at last we've got an epidemic. It's got to be sorted out. And I was guilty as well. You know, before Liam was taken, I wouldn't have thought about using a knife bin. But of course, since he has been, I've been collecting knives myself literally since months after he was taken and putting them into bins. We're very lucky in Essex. We've got quite a few around outside all the police stations, and I'm sure the rest of the country has it. But you don't think about it until you're affected by it. That's the problem.
This is it, Julie. Actually, a lot of people won't even know these bins exist. I actually only became aware of them just a few months ago, believe it or not, and that's crazy because I've been talking about knife crime in London for a really long time. So where can people find these knife bins? I think this is a really important thing for people who are listening, or maybe they've got a family member who they're worried about. What sort of advice could we give them?
I think they're mainly outside police stations because they've got to be monitored, haven't they? You know, you can't have them in the middle of nowhere sort of thing. So, yeah. You know, it's not just the zombie knives and machetes, it's the kitchen knives as well. On average, every week, 2 people are murdered by domestic violence in their own home. You know, so 6 years ago, I had 13 sharp knives in my drawer. I looked in my drawer, I've now got 3. That's all I needed. So you get these knives, as many knives of any description, off the streets and into the bins. It's the best thing we can possibly do.
So, Julie, when you say that you're getting knives off the street, are people bringing them to you to give them to you, or are they putting them in knife bins? And if they are giving them to you, what are they saying? Why do they want to give them over to you?
So for me, my story was when Liam was taken, I was running a community cafe and speaking to my older customers, they said to me, oh, we put ours in the bin. And I'm like, oh my God, you know, A, the dustman, B, the security issue, blah, blah, blah. So it started by me saying, look, I'll come round to your house and I'll collect it and I'll take it, because if they're a little bit older as well, you know, think of your neighbours. You might have an 80-year-old neighbour that's got 50 knives. That they just don't know about knives bins, can't be bothered. So I'll go, or people have contacted me locally around social media. We've been to the park, we found this, would you like to come and collect it? Because we can't be bothered to walk to the police station or whatever, because you know, it's 2 or 3 mile walk or bus fare or something, isn't it? And so, yeah, I collect knives and other weapons. You know, I've had a big sword handed to me and things like that. And I've taken them down the bins, yeah.
Yeah, and
12 o'clock one night.
Incredible to hear that, by the way, Julie, but in some ways not surprising anymore. We have seen over the years, and I know the police have showed off some of these insane knives. I mean, I think people will be happy to hear that the government have been working to get this down. But we need to do more, don't we, Julie? What more can we do? Because this is not the end of the epidemic. We don't want to celebrate like it's all over. It is falling, but we need it to be eradicated, don't we?
And it's not just one thing and one person, is it? It is constantly, for the rest of our lives and our children's lives, speaking to our children about knife and violent crime, educating our children in school, you know, taking the knives off the streets, having stop and searches, more knife archers, things like this. You know, the police are visible on the street at last, thank God, you know, that's really good. And just speaking and for the young people, reporting this to Fearless, which is completely anonymous, and so many young people do not know about Fearless. You contact them on 0800 555 111. You can report any crime, including knife crime, and it's completely anonymous. And since I've been speaking in schools, I think I'm really spreading the word, like other campaigners are, that these sort of things are out there ready for you to use.
Well, Julie, it is absolutely incredible, the work that you do. Thank you so much for everything that you do and for Liam's memory and in Liam's memory. And thank you so much for coming on and talking to us on GB News. It's always really good to see you. Thank you.
It really is.
And
thank you so much,
for
Julie.
awareness. Thank you.
Thank you.
Please come back again and talk to us when you do some more campaigns or you have another breakthrough. Thank you so much, Julie. We really do appreciate your time.
Thank you.
And still to come on the show, several athletes have disappeared after competing in the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow. You're never going to guess the reason why, though.
We'll go through that in the papers with Norman Baker and Suzanne Evans. But first, here's your forecast across Europe.
Dinner under the stars tonight?
That reminds me of our travel insurance.
You mean all clear skies?
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
Thunderstorms for some parts of Germany, Austria into the Czech Republic, fine elsewhere, and the heat continues to build on Thursday across Central and Eastern Europe. Mostly average temperatures or near average for Greece, but into Italy, Croatia, Slovakia, Romania, Hungary, it's exceptionally hot temperatures heading towards 40 Celsius. 1 or 2 thunderstorms northern parts of Spain into Andorra. Otherwise, a lot of fine weather for Spain, for Portugal, and for the Canaries over the next few days.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
4 heat waves, weeks without meaningful rain. As the UK heads towards one of its hottest summers on record, the pressure is showing here in Sussex, in the fruit growing across these fields.
Well, the impact of the heat is already visible here. This local grower says that if these extreme temperatures continue, this year's harvest may well be smaller in size.
I don't think there's been another period like this in the history. 3 years ago, we had a tremendous heat wave in the middle of harvest. We were unable to get the fruit to cool down quickly enough. The following year we had a very, very light crop, and the same again this year.
GB News, the People's Channel. This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Britain's only all-female chess team, called She Plays to Win, has been promoted to the game's top division, only to be told they must recruit a male player to compete. Now, league rules require every First Division team to include at least 1 male and 1 female player, meaning that one of the team's female players could lose her place. I'm joined in the studio by the She Plays to Win chess players, Anusha and Alicia. Great to see you both this afternoon.
Thank you.
So sorry about what's going on. You've been promoted, but you might have to lose one of your teammates. What's going on here?
So essentially, we have fallen victim to this rule that She Plays to Win, our team, has been promoted to the First Division in our league, but now must have a male player as part of the rules.
GB News, the People's Channel. Good afternoon, Britain. Weekdays from midday.
Well, that drought is due to long periods, record periods actually, with no rainfall and high temperatures. The areas that are affected, as you say, over half of England, half of the UK affected by that. The areas being East Anglia, Hertfordshire, the whole of London, Thames Valley, Hampshire and the Isle of Wight, Devon and Cornwall, the West Midlands and Wessex, covering Dorset, Somerset, Wiltshire and Gloucestershire. So a huge area impacted by that drought. There is also that amber heat health alert still in place here. That's in place until tomorrow. And temperatures today in the south could reach up to 35 degrees. So people here in Bognor Regis coming to the coast to cool down.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Welcome back. We're going through the papers. Norman Baker and Suzanne Evans. Morning, you two.
Morning.
Suzanne, let's start with you, shall we? And this strange story that we just teased there before the break about these 4 Ugandan boxers who are missing in Scotland after the Commonwealth Games. What is going on?
Yes, that's right. Now, this is not an unfamiliar story, really. This happens frequently. Sports people come to Britain, they want to claim asylum here, they use it as an opportunity to actually stay here. But police are investigating this. It's a story from the Telegraph. 2 male, 2 female athletes. They're obviously, there are claims that they're planning to seek asylum in the UK. A recent case you might remember back in March, the Asian Women's Cup, the football match where 7 Iranian women refused to sing the Iranian national anthem and then were offered asylum by Australia. I think 5 out of the 7 accepted it, but then they ended up having to go home because Iran was clearly threatening their families. So this is, as I say, the hunt is on for these 4 Ugandan boxers in Scotland. But this is just the latest, I think, in a long litany of incidences when sports people coming to the UK and other countries as well will then stay here and try and claim asylum.
Norman?
Well, they haven't claimed it yet. I don't quite know why they haven't claimed it.
Yeah, you'd think they'd get on with it if that's what they want to do.
Yes, all they have to do is have their boxing match, then immediately claim asylum. Yeah. They've disappeared instead, which is a bit weird. But I mean, as and when they're found, they'll have to be assessed. That's true. If there's a claim, if they do claim asylum, they'll have to be assessed. And if they've got good reason to pass the test, then they'll be kept. And if not, they'll be returned to Uganda. But, Suzanne's right that you get these instances, people from places like, particularly from countries which are oppressive, like North Korea, when they have to get abroad. I mean, any way they can find not to go back, they'll try and find.
Indeed. All right, let's move on. Let's have a look at this. High taxes have made the North Sea uncompetitive, Norman, says BP boss who's just pulled out.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is interesting because it depends which paper you read, doesn't it? Because according to the Mail, the boss of BP has warned that drilling in the North Sea is no longer competitive and is claiming that Andy Burnham should scrap windfall taxes. He didn't bring them in, of course. He's been there for 2 weeks, to be fair to him. They were brought in by the Conservatives in 2022 and set at 25% of profits. If you look at the Guardian front page, which is here, profits of oil giants make 90 billion from price surge as climate crisis engulfs Europe. This is the same company, BP, that the boss is complaining about that he can't make ends meet. So, I mean, obviously it's difficult to know what the truth is when you've got completely opposite stories like that.
I think the problem we've got here is that the oil and gas windfall taxes, which as Norman said, are actually brought in under the Conservative government in 2022. You're now taxing profit on oil and gas companies at 78%. I mean, that is unsustainable. And it's all very well to point out BP's current profits of 5.7 billion. But let's not forget, as I said earlier, in relation to something else, profits might go up as well, down as well as up. They lost 8.9 billion in 2005. So oil companies are really, really struggling against a huge amount of regulation and taxation. So really, kind of what did you expect? Politicians talk about growth and then they actively hamper companies from making profits. And in the case of BP, we've got this wonderful asset that is the North Sea. We've not actually used it wisely at all in any way. Trump was saying this this week. What did you expect? You give somebody a business a 78% tax, of course they're not going to carry on.
To be fair to the Conservatives, the reason the windfall tax was brought in was because the windfall profits were being made. That's why they brought it in.
But I dispute the whole idea of windfall profits.
Well, I mean, if they're
you're making a profit. Profit is the applause you get for doing a good job. Why is everybody so against profit? And that's what pays people's taxes, pays people's wages. And we're not just this loss to BP. If it does quit the North Sea, it's at least 1,000 jobs gone, plus all the knock-on jobs. It destroys families.
It won't quit the North Sea.
Well, I hope not. But who knows?
Let's take a look at this story here. We did briefly touch on it earlier on. The farmers are facing the worst harvest on record thanks to the heat waves. And I think of Clarkson's farm, which I think actually does a really good job of making it accessible.
Loving that at the moment.
I really am, because whether you love him or hate him, he's entertaining, isn't he?
Oh, it's a great programme.
And I think it makes it very human for all of us to understand how a farmer's working. But Suzanne, we're now obviously facing the shortages of food, perhaps, on top of the Strait of Hormuz, which whether it's open or closed depending on what day of the week it is, I don't know. Fertiliser is very critical through the Strait of Hormuz for us as well. We could be staring down the barrel of something very bleak.
It could be very, very bleak. And of course, this comes on top of the issues that we've had with the Labour government attacking farmers, farmers quitting the business. You know, I think it's only 1% of people actually farm in this country now. That is a tiny proportion. We've far too long relied on imported food. But it is. So prices are going to go up.
Yes.
And again, we've got the government talking about the supermarkets making too much money. They're struggling as well. They're operating on 1 to 4% profit margins. They're not ripping people off. And food is going to have to go up because supermarkets... It's supply and demand, and it's also the additional costs of national insurance, of minimum wage going up, all these issues. It's a mess. But I do feel, you know, I'm struggling just to keep my tiny little fledgling veg patch alive in this heat.
This is why it's so important that we support British, we buy British, we support our British farmers, because it is tough out there for them.
I've got a lot more sympathy with the British farmers than I have with BP, I have to say. And the British farmers have had a rough deal, and they're going to make a loss this year because the harvest is going to be down, the weight's down on the wheat, for example, and they're not going to be able to make ends meet.
No.
And there's a lot of them going out of business, and that's not sensible. And we're going to import more food as a consequence of that. We should
already
be more
importing half.
We are. Yeah. We should be as self-sufficient as possible in everything, in energy, in food, and we're not doing that. We're going the opposite direction. And Europe itself has had a terrible time with climate change, and Europe is going to import more food from the rest of the world. This is not sensible.
At the same time, the oil is also possibly going to be going up. But look, we've only got a minute, and I do really want to talk about this story, Norma, because this is lasers revealing lost civilization of 3 million people in the Amazon rainforest. This is astonishing.
This is incredible, although the indigenous people in the Amazon apparently have known it's always been there.
Yes.
But 3 million people were living 2,000 years ago in a highly developed culture in the Amazon, with roads laid out, with geometric monuments, ceremonial avenues and so on. This is incredible. It's like ancient Greece, and it's all gone. I think the interest, and then they did it very sustainably. They didn't kind of clear the whole thing like a savanna. They had clearings where they kept the forest going and lived within those clearings. I think the interesting question for me is, why did it disappear? Why is it no longer there? What happened to this civilization?
Absolutely. It's really big questions to ask.
That's the question we don't know the answer to.
Certainly is. Right, you
fascinating stuff.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We really do appreciate it, despite all the interruptions throughout the show from various politicians, actually. There we go. Thank you both.
Norman, thank you. Been really good to see you today. Now, do stay with us. Still to come, we've got an action-packed last half an hour programme, don't we? We're going to be in Wigan, where locals are being driven crazy by a new and very noisy warehouse. Got the latest on that.
Plus, we'll find out about that rocket they're launching to the moon.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello, very good morning to you. Welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. It's going to feel fresher for all of us today. Showers for many, especially towards the north and west. Thunderstorms for some, impactful thunderstorms with hail, lightning and torrential rain. Now, we've already seen some showers to start the day towards the north. We'll see showers pop up also across parts of Wales, western and northern England. Longer spells of rain for Northern Ireland, western Scotland, but the biggest storms are likely to develop through the afternoon for northeast Scotland with hail, thunder, 50 millimetres of rain accumulating in several hours. Dry, though, yet again through the Midlands, East Anglia and the South East, although with a fresher feel. Temperatures back towards average, mid-20s with lower humidities. However, for much of Scotland, it's going to feel actually quite miserable in places. A lot of rain there through the north and west of Scotland, 13 Celsius, a strong breeze. Some brighter spells towards the east, but only in between these lively thunderstorms. A little drier to end the day for Northern Ireland, but for much of northern and western England as well as Wales, we've got these scattered showers. They'll be hit and miss. Some places will avoid them. Others will get a bit of a soaking, but they avoid, once again, East Midlands, East Anglia and the South East, staying dry as we end the day and go into the start of Thursday. Clear spells overnight. A bit more comfortable for sleeping, however, with those lower humidities, a fresh breeze coming from the northwest. Temperatures in the low teens rather than the high teens that we've seen during the last few nights. We start the day on Thursday with, again, significant contrasts across the UK. Dry, bright and warm in the south, but cloudy and cool with a strong breeze into the north and northeast. Showery rain coming south, breaking up through the day to give some drier and brighter weather. Certainly an improving picture for northern parts with some sunshine coming through. Staying dry once again in the south, however, with highs of 24 or 25 Celsius, much cooler towards the north.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Thank you, Britain, for the thousands of you who are becoming friends of GB News each and every week.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The M1 northbound is closed between junctions 16 and 18 near Daventry, following a collision between junctions 14 and 15. The A43 is closed at junction 15A in Northampton due to spillage. The M6 northbound is closed between junctions 25 and 26 near Wigan. In Scotland, the M77 northbound has 2 lanes closed on the slip road at junction 3, causing queues. Across Wales, the A40 from CFN Greenwich to Bwlch is affected by a collision, and on the trains, Cross Country and Great Western Railway services have reduced service between Newport and Cardiff Central. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Welcome to Orlisanti by Domes Resorts, where we're celebrating with an incredible £60,000 to be won. Plus, we'll give you a fine gold bullion bar worth over £5,000. Don't miss your chance to win over £65,000 worth of prizes.
For a chance to win, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pulled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Bold.
They are under no illusion.
Brave.
Are you a human trafficker?
Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get us on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now, they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good morning. A top police chief threatens to take the Prime Minister Andy Burnham to court in an effort to stop PC Andrew Harper's killers walking free from prison early.
Well, the Prime Minister's decision to include criminals guilty of manslaughter in the early prison release scheme is labelled an insult to PC Harper's loved ones.
Well, earlier Deputy Lib Dem leader Daisy Cooper shared her frustration.
Quite frankly, you know, in Parliament we were given repeated assurances from ministers that the most serious cases, the most prolific criminals would not be allowed out.
Indeed, and opposition assistant whip, indeed, Katie Lamb added to the criticisms.
The idea that the people who killed him, who seem to have expressed no remorse for having done so, could be back on our streets, I think is unspeakable.
Well, the scheme will also see more than 9,000 domestic abusers freed within just 3 years. Is this becoming the first major crisis of Burnham's government? And while the backlash mounts, the Prime Minister is on a 2-week holiday.
Yes, Andy Burnham is on a long-planned family holiday. He had a good couple of first weeks, a Burnham bounce, but now reality is starting to hit, and the problems are exactly the same as they were under Keir Starmer.
And residents in Piddington appeal to the government in their latest last-ditch effort to halt plans to house 1,250 migrants in the tiny Oxfordshire village with a population of just 300 people. Local children have been sending heartfelt messages to the Prime Minister.
To Andy Burnham, I like my village exactly how it is and I don't want it to be changed. Dear Prime Minister, I love the park in Piddington.
Reform UK Chairman Lee Anderson is in Calais today at the centre of the migrant crisis. Earlier on in the programme, he discussed the pull factors bringing asylum seekers to Britain.
New clothes, bust into town, pocket money. I mean, why wouldn't they come? We're a soft touch. It's as simple as that. We are a soft touch.
A warehouse complex in Tildesley wreaks havoc on the lives of local residents. We're live in Wigan to find out more.
Breaking news, that SpaceX rocket has crashed into the moon. But has actual video been captured of it? We're not quite sure. We're going to find out what went down very shortly.
Depending on where you are in the United Kingdom, it's either another wet day or another dry day. Another day of contrasts either way. I'll have the full details in the forecast coming up soon.
Good morning, it's just gone 9 o'clock. I'm Ellie Costello.
And I'm Alex Armstrong, and this is GB News Breakfast. That warehouse stuff. So I've been to the Astley warehouse in Wigan and spoke to local residents there, and I tell you what, it is absolutely disgusting what's happened to those people. Massive, and these warehouses are the size of airports, Ellie. Oh. They are the size of airports, and they are literally metres off of the gardens of residents who many have told me they weren't even aware the buildings were going ahead. I think the planning committee and the application was deemed pretty much a farce at the time, or at least something along those lines. And they've now got lorries going in and out them all night long. Children live around there. There's a school near there. They've got massive lorries driving past them. It used to be beautiful countryside. And I tell you what, I am not surprised this is picking up pace. Now, the key thing here is that Andy Burnham promised, he said when he was Mayor of Greater Manchester, he didn't have the powers to do anything about it. Well, he does now.
He's in charge now.
He does now. So let's see if he lives up to his word and puts a stop to that, because that should never have happened to those poor people.
Yeah, and totally changes the feel of a community, doesn't it? Anyway, let us know if you've been affected by that story. gbnews.com/your say. In the meantime, let's have a look at our top story today, because the senior police chief has threatened legal action against the Prime Minister, Andy Burnham. It's in an effort to prevent the killers of PC Andrew Harper from walking free under the controversial early release scheme.
Well, the family of the murdered police officer have expressed outrage at the Prime Minister's decision to allow offenders convicted of manslaughter to be released early. They branded the move an utter betrayal.
Well, adding fuel to the fire, the Daily Mail this morning reporting that 9,000 domestic abusers could be back on Britain's streets by 2029 under the scheme.
Well, joining us now is GB News chief political correspondent Catherine Forster. Catherine, this has, of course, captured the attention of the press 2 days in a row now. Is it becoming a crisis for Andy Burnham at this point, who's, of course, on holiday?
Yes, he's on holiday, the earliest that any new Prime Minister has ever gone. I think Theresa May went off after about a month. But yes, I think it is. He obviously had a very good first couple of weeks. He communicates in a very sort of easy way. He sounds like a normal person, a change from Sir Keir Starmer. But the problems are the same. And with this, of course, it's massively controversial. The government started doing this not long after they came into office in 2024. They, of course, would blame the Conservatives and the coalition government, previous governments, for simply not building enough prison spaces. But it's hugely upsetting, of course, to the victims, and in this case, particularly the family of PC Andrew Harper. And Andy Burnham did say a few days ago that yeah, he was very concerned about this. He would look at it. They did have a very quick review. They've stopped about 1,000 rapists and child sexual offenders being eligible. But clearly, there are still many, many prisoners going to be released early, including the killers of PC Andrew Harper. And the family are saying it's an utter betrayal. They are calling for an exception for people who have killed emergency service workers, such as policemen. I would say there seems to be increasingly cross-party support for that. But all this is going to happen when Parliament isn't sitting. MPs won't be able to have a vote on it. And it's deeply unpopular. But the bottom line is there's not enough places in prisons. And the prisons, if they don't let people out early, are simply going to be full, and then there's nowhere to put people.
What is going to be done about this, Catherine? Because we were saying to the Justice Minister yesterday, weren't we, Justice Secretary, that we've been at crisis point now since 2022, potentially to 2024, potentially even before then. We've been talking about prisons being full by November of this year. Even with these changes that we're talking about today, they're talking about prisons being full by next spring. But something needs to be done to increase capacity, and quickly.
Yeah, we've been here before. Well, the government would say that they are getting more prison places, but this is not something that you can just whip up quickly. I mean, I think of during COVID, the Nightingale hospitals, but I guess the government would say, look, it's very different when you're putting people in a prison. It's got to be high security. This is not like putting a few beds in a building for people that are poorly. But it's a long-term problem, and it's a long-term problem because we had austerity. We haven't had much money as a country really since the financial crisis, and prisons and the justice system is one of the things that when money is scarce, governments don't spend money on because people are thinking about the NHS, they're thinking about their kids' schools. We just expect that the prisons will work, that dangerous people will be kept safely away from us, and not enough money and attention has been paid, and it's coming back to bite us now big time.
It certainly is. It certainly is. I think there's I can really, and to be fair to the Justice Secretary yesterday, he's only a few weeks into the job, so this is a very big issue for him to have to take on. We did feel a little bit of sympathy for him yesterday, but of course the government are going to have to do something because we cannot keep on doing this every few months. People are getting very upset about it, rightfully so. Catherine Forster, thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Thanks, Catherine. Well, we should say the Justice Secretary, Alex Norris, who we spoke to on the programme yesterday, gave us the following statement.
The Prime Minister and I have reviewed these reforms, listened to the concerns and gone further to protect victims. Victims will also have better access and support and reassurance that offenders leaving prisons face tougher supervision and punishment.
9 minutes past 9. Just time to tell you about the Great British Giveaway now. Time is ticking on. Your chance to win £60,000 in tax-free cash and a real gold bar worth over £5,000. Here are all of the details that you need.
Welcome to Orla Santi by Domes Resorts, where we're celebrating a golden summer. And you could be enjoying a golden year with an incredible £60,000 to be won. That's tax-free cash that you'll get to spend on anything you like. What would you do with it? You could relax knowing that we've got those day-to-day financial pressures sorted. Or find yourself celebrating in the lap of five-star luxury, somewhere like here, the Spritzeria. Plus, we'll give you a fine gold bullion bar worth over £5,000 that you can keep or gift to a loved one. Don't miss your chance to win over £65,000 worth of prizes.
For a chance to win £60,000 in tax-free cash and a real gold bar, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pooled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
All right, well, residents living next to a controversial warehouse say that their lives have been turned upside down after round-the-clock operations began.
Yes, early morning and late-night workers have left locals complaining that the noise is keeping them awake throughout the night.
Well, GB News' national reporter Sophie Reaper's joining us live. Sophie, I've been there, you're there. I'm so pleased to see you're back there as well, because this has sparked nationwide uproar for all the right reasons, because many people are looking at that going, that could happen to me. Tell us a bit more about what's happened here.
Well, Alex, you'll know from being here that when you're just in the shadow of these huge warehouses, it really is shocking. 60 feet in people's garden, just overhanging, causing mayhem. And actually, a lot of residents here have been saying that it is causing national uprising, because lots of people are saying actually now they're going against it, and because the way the residents have dealt with this, it hasn't happened to them. Now, of course, you might say it's a little too late for the residents here, but what's happened in the last couple of weeks is that Whistle have now moved into these warehouses, and they are causing uproar with their activities overnight. Just take a listen to this. Some of the residents have sent this in to us. Well, joining us now is Steve Retford, who is one of the residents here. And you live in this house. This is your view now, Steve. But talk to me about what it's like overnight.
Well, to put it in a nutshell, it's a living hell. Sounds very melodramatic, but it is dreadful. You can't run a huge logistical concern like Whistle quietly. It is an impossibility. You get endless vehicle movements at night, the coupling and uncoupling of heavy goods vehicle trailers, the hissing of air brakes, the banging of the doors. It's just dreadful. And you know yourself, once you're woken, it's very, very difficult to get back off to sleep. And it's really awful. We knew it was going to be bad. We didn't think it was going to be this bad.
Well, of course, it's a 24/7 operation, isn't it? And it's not just the noise, is it? It's the light that comes off that. You said that overnight you wouldn't need any lights if we were stood here at 1 o'clock in the morning, would you?
No, you really don't. It's like the best thing you can equate it to is the huge light that's emitted around the airports. It's like that. It just floods the whole area. And it's dreadful. It's something that we have identified. Whistle have said that they're going to look at shrouding some of the lights, but it's yet to be done. But the light pollution that we're getting from this is just dreadful. Couple that with the noise pollution, and it's, as I say, it's like a living hell. It's dreadful.
Of course, when this campaign began, it was all about actually stopping the construction. Of course, that's a lost cause now, isn't it? Essentially, they're up. But if you had a message for Whistle and for Wigan Council, what would it be? What do you want now?
Well, what we want now is the 24/7 operation cancelling. We always thought that it was bad enough having those things erected in your back garden, but to give them a 24/7 operation shows the contempt that they held the community in. You can't run something like that quietly, and it was obviously always going to have a dreadful impact on the community, and it is doing. And they've not even got the full fleet there yet, because they've only got an interim operator's licence. So Lord knows what it's going to be like when they get a full operation licence. It's going to be impossible.
I can't even imagine. Steve, thank you so much for sharing that with us this morning. There you are, a living hell, they say, to live here now with these warehouses behind them. Will the 24/7 operation be cancelled? Only time will tell.
Well, Sophie, listen, as I remember the now Prime Minister, the former Mayor of Greater Manchester, saying to residents at the time he didn't have the power to stop that warehouse. Well, he's the Prime Minister now, so let's wonder whether or not he's got the power indeed now to do something about it. I'm sure residents will be asking that question today, but thanks for going back there and visiting people like Steve, who, I met them all when I was there. Steve was a lovely, lovely man, let me into his house to see that as well. And that little fence at the back there between Sophie and Steve, there's a wooden fence there. That is designed to stop the noise pollution. Can you believe it? That's what they've built. Absolutely incredible. Sophie, thanks for bringing us that report.
Thank you. Well, Aidan Thatcher, Director for Place at Wigan Council, has said that this planning application went through our planning consultation and committee process. The final plans include landscaping, which will help to soften and screen the appearance and mitigate the impact on nearby properties. We'll continue to monitor the site throughout construction, ensuring that this development brings new jobs and investment to the area and is being delivered properly.
Interesting. Still to come, a SpaceX rocket has crashed into the moon. We haven't seen images of it though. This is infuriating. So we're going to find out what's unfolded next.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Cates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Bold. They are under no illusion. Ray, are you a human trafficker? Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get us on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now, they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome to Free Speech Nation with me, Josh Howard. This is the show where each week we see what's happening in the world of culture, current affairs and politics.
First we'll say, welcome to the UK. Oh, thank you.
And we're not afraid to use our free speech so that you can use yours.
It's not controversial in the slightest to anyone who hasn't lost their mind.
Free Speech Nation, Sunday nights at 7 p.m, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Some people enjoy lazy Sunday mornings, but not me.
What's the truth of the matter? So that's a very live question. Would you support him if he waters down these plans?
Before the spin sets in, I'll be getting to the truth.
This is personal.
No soft questions, no easy answers.
It's one thing if the state has rules in this country. It's another thing whether the police and others actually police them.
Setting the agenda and holding those in power to account.
You can't really blame her if the system is set up this way. You will not want to miss it, trust me.
The Camilla Tominey Show, Sundays from 9:30, only on GB News.
Here at GB News, we made a promise to tell your stories. And on the 6th of August, we're marking 5 years of doing exactly that.
Celebrate with us by having your say. Join in the debates live on TV and radio.
And tune in as your favourite presenters are live across the country, from Leeds to Aberdeen, from Belfast to Barry Island.
Plus, join me in Essex for our biggest live show of the year. Tune in tomorrow, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Right, well, an abandoned SpaceX rocket has collided, well, it's smashed into the face of the moon, basically.
Oh, look, we're
in space.
We're in space. This is great, yeah.
Oh, there you go. Well done, gallery. After spending nearly a year drifting through space.
Yes, the rocket made an uncontrolled impact on the lunar surface, creating a massive crater and sending a cloud of debris and dust into space.
Right, well, astrophysicist at the University of Nottingham, Dr. Maggie Liu, joins us now. Now, I have to ask you, Maggie, where on earth It's the video. Where's the footage? It's the moon. It's not that far away. We can get video. We can even get video of parts of our solar system. How on earth have we missed this?
Actually, this was a really challenging thing, right? Because we are observing this crash, which is right on the edge of the moon at a point called the Einstein crater. And it would be hitting during the daylit side, so the bright part of the moon. No crash has ever been observed on the day side of the moon. We get meteorites hit the moon all the time. Sometimes you might see a flash. That's a meteorite hitting the moon. We have had crashed rockets on the moon before. But again, these are typically observed in the darkness. So you can see the contrast with the bright light of flash that happens with it. This was on the bright side, so it's very difficult. Obviously, from the UK, this was at about 7:30 a.m., so the sun was already up and very difficult to see. And the best hope of seeing this was to be in the Americas. And like many people, I have been glued to the live streams and unfortunately failed to see anything. And that was kind of disappointing, but it's also really interesting for science because you said that it would carve out this massive crater. Well, the size of the crater that it carves out depends on the type of material that it hits. So if it hits like a loose regolith-like material, then yes, you would expect a 20-meter crater and massive, maybe 100-kilometer high dust plumes. But if instead it hits a hard bedrock, then the kind of crater would be much smaller and maybe too faint to see with our naked eyes. And the dust plume would be a lot fainter. So already we're learning stuff from this. As for videos, the Korean moon orbiter, Danuri, that planned to have 3 orbits during the time of the impact. So it is expected to take photographs, maybe even video of the impact. So we may see more things come later. We have space observatories that are observing this in infrared and more specific wavelengths that are more likely to pick up like the metals that could have been emitted in plumes that again, we couldn't see with our naked eyes. So these all require post-processing. So more data will come later on. And then also you've got NASA's Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, which will likely observe the crater afterwards. So it's got before images, it's got after images of the spot. If it leaves a crater and how big, whatever, we will see it from those images.
Oh, it's so exciting, isn't it? And hopefully we do get that footage. Dr. Maggie Liu, thank you for explaining that all to us this morning.
I'm so excited. I really hope we get to see
Well, hopefully we do, yeah. And scientists can find out a lot more about the surface of the moon.
There we go. Right, coming up very shortly, Britain's newsroom.
Back to Earth.
Back here on Earth.
Hopefully not with a bang.
Crashing down to Earth. Andrew.
Indeed. Well, we've got this report from Piddington, this little village that wants to vote to leave the UK because in a village of over only 400 people, 1,200 migrants are going to be sent there in a nearby camp. And it's the children that are now writing to the Prime Minister asking him to keep them safe.
How is that going to work, really? It's just so appalling, isn't it? And we're looking at how is Ed Miliband going to be received in Washington, our new Foreign Secretary who said, amongst other things about Donald Trump, liar, misogynist, woman hater. The list goes on and on and on. These childish things these politicians say, that's not going to help, is it?
No. They also have a nickname for him, apparently, Ed Milliwatt, which is about the amount of power that his net zero schemes will produce.
And also we're looking at who is running the country in the absence of the Prime Minister. You'll be intrigued to know who it is.
It's you and me, Andrew, isn't it? All that coming up after your weather.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello, very good morning to you. Welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. It's going to feel fresher for all of us today. Showers for many, especially towards the north and west. Thunderstorms for some, impactful thunderstorms with hail, lightning and torrential rain. Now, we've already seen some showers to start the day towards the north. We'll see showers pop up also across parts of Wales, western and northern England. Longer spells of rain for Northern Ireland, western Scotland, but the biggest storms are likely to develop through the afternoon for northeast Scotland with hail, thunder, 50 millimetres of rain accumulating in several hours. Dry, though, yet again through the Midlands, East Anglia and the South East, although with a fresher feel. Temperatures back towards average, mid-20s with lower humidities. However, for much of Scotland, it's going to feel actually quite miserable in places. A lot of rain there through the north and west of Scotland, 13 Celsius, a strong breeze. Some brighter spells towards the east, but only in between these lively thunderstorms. A little drier to end the day for Northern Ireland, but for much of northern and western England as well as Wales, we've got these scattered showers. They'll be hit and miss. Some places will avoid them. Others will get a bit of a soaking, but they avoid, once again, East Midlands, East Anglia and the South East, staying dry as we end the day and go into the start of Thursday. Clear spells overnight. A bit more comfortable for sleeping, however, with those lower humidities, a fresh breeze coming from the northwest. Temperatures in the low teens rather than the high teens that we've seen during the last few nights. We start the day on Thursday with, again, significant contrasts across the UK. Dry, bright and warm in the south, but cloudy and cool with a strong breeze into the northeast. Showery rain coming south, breaking up through the day to give some drier and brighter weather. Certainly an improving picture for northern parts with some sunshine coming through. Staying dry once again in the south, however, with highs of 24 or 25 Celsius, much cooler towards the north.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Thank you, Britain, for making GB News Radio such a huge success. Whether you're in the car, on the go, or listening at home, thank you for choosing us as your radio station.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The M1 northbound is closed between junctions 16 and 18 near Daventry